It is now 6:30 p.m. Call to order a regular meeting of the Johnson Selectboard. Thank you all for attending. First item is to consider additions or adjustments. Are there any from the board? I have one to add a third executive session regarding personnel matters. We can do that at the very end. Item 2 is reviewing invoices and orders. Those are currently going around up here. Item 3, public comments and public announcements. Diana.
I have a question with this fiber situation. The appropriate follow-up if there's a large section of buried cable now exposed due to erosion on the Prospect Rock Road. It's not to our house, but it's the one that feeds us. And I don't know if that's a fiber committee issue or a select board issue, or if I call fiber net, or no, not fiber net, what's the Fidium? If I call Fidium directly, I need.
That's a Fidium issue for sure. I can relay it to them on a fiber net for you, but they'll just turn around and call Fidium because that's operational. Yeah.
So call the Fidium. When they ask me if it's like for my, if it, like it's not, you know, like if you're having a problem with your own system, it's just a systemic one. It's still Fidium.
Right. It's still working, right? It's just a matter of it's exposed. You're worried about it. Am I hearing it correctly? Yeah. I
I
mean,
think the stuff designed, it's down where I thought it was gonna go, like where the posts or the poles are. I thought it was gonna be running on the poles, but it's not. It's buried in the ground.
which should be better, but only if it stays buried.
Yeah.
Fidium.
Fidium. Okay.
Fidium. Let me know if you don't get a satisfactory answer.
Took all of us to make it even happen to start with.
Yeah, it did that. Other public announcements. Was that an announcement?
It was a question.
I know. Okay, select board updates and concerns. I have 2. One, I wanted to announce that David Williams was awarded honorable mention of the Marvin Award for community service. And his service included 6 terms as moderator for Johnson Village meetings, 11 terms on school boards, 14 years as a member of civil authority, and 47 years as moderator of Johnson Town meetings. So I just wanted to say thank you, Dave, and congratulations. Makes you wonder what you have to do to get more than honorable mention, doesn't it? Anyway, that's pretty wonderful. I also just wanted to make note that I spoke to Dave Berg about possibly having a meeting with him and Shelley Coleman, the incoming president of Vermont State College University. And we're hoping to have that before Dave leaves. That doesn't look like it's going to happen, but we will have one coming up in short order in July with kind of all hands on deck. So be more coming about that. Anything else?
I was reading back through John's reports. Did we grade the dump?
I think Mark said.
Town crew?
No, I think we made it past, I think.
We did.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the agreement that's in place, we shouldn't be doing that. I just want to make sure it's not becoming standard practice or the agreement, which is due for renewal anyways. Gets updated at some point.
Okay.
It wasn't great the last time I went there.
Huh?
It wasn't great the last time I went there, 2 weeks ago.
Maybe.
Want to make sure we're not maintaining.
Your question is us versus the village or versus the
No,
state
the
or
agreement
versus?
is with the waste management district.
Yeah.
We own the property, we own a liability for the landfill, we have to maintain the cap.
So if we have to maintain the cap, wouldn't that be grading?
No, that's like brush hogging the weeds. Not grading.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Maybe they just graded in front of the entrance or something and
Maybe, I would just
I'll reach out to
check out on
Parks.
it.
Okay. Anything else? All right, over to you, Rosemary. Clerk's, treasurer's reports, warrants, licenses, and any action items.
Good job.
Sometimes I have a hard time counting. Consent agenda, consider improving the minutes of the June 1 meeting.
No move, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. Now we're on to the clerk and treasurer's report.
Okay. Okay, we're 73.93% spent of budget, which does not include funding the reserve funds. There was quite a few large invoices on this set of orders, and that will change us dramatically. I think overall, we're in pretty good shape. So I think there is enough.
That's due because of grants, right?
Well, grants would have, most of them have an expense type to them.
Right. For 98% of income.
Yeah.
What percent is spent?
73.
Top of page 9.
Where do you think we'll level out after the reserve funds?
I'm hoping a couple $100,000. Because the state still owes us for a couple of projects, but they haven't got reimbursed yet.
Is there anything else in particular in here you want to point out, Rosemary?
We're still not, have we not received? Come from. The project at the co-op,
No,
that would be nice,
Mhm.
is the hold up on the state? Or the co-op?
I know they wanted some more information and the engineering firm has sent them some, but I'm not sure if it's all they want yet.
You need help tracking that down,
Yes, I will.
any help,
I'll contact Mumley again.
that's a big chunk of money.
Mhm, mhm. And the library project received a very anonymous donation of over $400,000. Which should put the project, we're still need more money, but it's much better than it was before. Cause from my known figure that I know about, we're still about $70,000 short.
Hmm.
And that doesn't include, say, any furnishings for the building, that,
Smaller gap to fill.
just not-
And I think the library will be here next meeting to report and
Mhm.
update.
The money pit's starting to get full.
Question, Charles?
Bird Festival on the agenda.
We're a little bit out of order here, but
Mark's gonna be. Will come back.
For insurance?
Yeah, they got the time they're talking about the boat.
It's on there just to announce that the boat race is off and that you have your own insurance. That was a question that came up last time. So you're free to go eat dinner. Thank you.
One big thing that comes up every year. And we did receive more pilot than we were planning for, which is good.
Mhm.
Have you had any conversations with Dan and Rich? Anybody much about that next year?
With the corrections about the.
Yeah,
I haven't heard from anybody about it other than you.
I'll reach out to them.
well, if that didn't change by session end, it'd probably be the same issue next year.
No doubt. Anything else in here? No?
Not even, but I got a call from the Union Bank this morning.
Yes?
Wanted to know. They gave me a check number, wanted to know who the check was supposed to be written to and the dollar amount. Have you ever heard about whitewashing a check?
What?
Whitewashing a check?
I don't know. what that
Fill us in.
means.
Somehow they can put something on the check and they change the name on the check and the dollar amount of the check.
So the Union Bank got a
And they
request.
thought it was. The lady I was talking to said this has been happening a lot lately. To their customers. And they have this program called Posi Pay, which we upload. Our invoices that we've paid, or the dollar amount of the check is supposed to be, and we can. When a check comes in to be cashed. We can verify it to make sure it's made up to the right person and the dollar amount. The check was made up to Citibank for $157. It came back through to Kevin somebody for $957. And the bank refused to cash it. They're gonna send it back as. They're not charging us that.
It's called whitewashing.
Whitewashing.
Sure.
Well, good for them for paying attention. So is there anything they're suggesting we do as far as
This
preventative action?
positive pay and ACH filtering. There's no charge to the town for it. And we're gonna start doing a class on it tomorrow and start immediately.
That's unique.
I've heard about it, on the news and whatnot. It's never happened to us.
Watch your checking accounts, everybody.
Oh, yeah, yep.
I confess I've never heard of it.
Digital was on secure. Apparently paper is.
Thank you. Any other good news you want to share with us?
When Tom was getting quotes for the server. Superior Communications. Came in and did a couple hours to find out what our server was. And they're trying to charge the town for that, to get that information. Since we did not purchase the server from them, or I haven't purchased a server yet. Is this a bill that the town wants to pay for $750?
To get a
No.
quote?
Yeah, to get the quote.
No.
No.
I don't understand.
Do we need a vote or are we consensus?
Since when you pay me a quote?
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay,
had the same opinion.
I think you have a
I
board
never-
consensus. No, we're not inclined to pay that. Okay, that's it. I have another announcement. As you all know, Rosemary has been with the town of Johnson since April 1993. On June 30th, 2026, she'll be retiring after serving the town admirably for 43 years. And this will be Rosemary's final select board meeting as town clerk and treasurer for the town of Johnson. So first step, a round of applause for Rosemary, please. And furthermore, in recognition of Rosemary Audubon's retirement from the town of Johnson, whereas Rosemary gave 43 years of service to the town, including 27 years as town clerk and treasurer, and whereas she worked through the night to safeguard town records through the flood of 2023, and whereas she has served as invaluable wealth of knowledge and protected the town's funds with diligence, and whereas she received the Jim Marvin Award in 2022 for a life devoted to the community, and had a park dedicated in her name by the village in 2023. Therefore, we, the Select Board of Johnson, by virtue of the authority vested in us by the Johnson Charter and the laws of Vermont, do hereby proclaim June 15th, 2026 as Rosemary Audubon Day. And we'd like to thank you with this certificate. And 9 thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure all these years. Not every single day, but.
Every day with me.
Yes, we are. Very grateful select board and a very appreciative town full of people. So thank you. All right, next up, Carl Rogers. We are on to,
Can we talk about a couple of things for Rosemary's retirement now, or do you want to do that later?
I was going to do it later. We can do it now. Sure.
We can
No, let's do it now.
We can do it later. I was just curious about a couple things. One, I just don't know how it would work, but the purchase out of your banks, can we do that in this fiscal year instead of next fiscal year?
I
Or-
plan on doing it this fiscal.
Okay, so that will be done. Thank you very much. You're old dad, I was the one start July 1.
Oh, I told you 2 years ago when I was charging, it should have been budgeted for.
Yeah, I mean, we have the cash on it.
Yeah.
That's not a big deal.
It's not gonna be that much.
And as far as flow of retirement. Congratulations for making it to retirement. Are we gonna be able to close out the fiscal year? Because we'll be signing some orders in July. Have you and Lydia talked about that? Just if she has.
We're gonna try to do a check run on the 30th. To get any stragglers from now and then,
Okay,
but we won't send the checks or anything until you guys approve them on Monday.
that's all I have.
Okay.
Other than. This is no fun because you're here. I mean, typically a devoted employee, the board is. Kind of tasked other. Employees with purchasing a retirement gift and. Organizing a party that the town paid for, but we just have a budget, or just open the checkbook.
Open the checkbook. What do you think?
I say open it, but, that's something you could work with the other employees on and. Think we could spend $2,500 without needing board approval.
Yeah, so I was.
Say 2,500.
I believe the town administrator can spend
it's-
2,500, or is it 3,000?
3,000.
Oh, we should be on it. Yeah. We have plenty of authority.
I don't want it to hold things up. I believe the town holds these things a lot of times. The other employees. Aren't here to talk about it, but obviously our meetings are open to the public, so.
My thought was going to be that we coordinate with the village and do something together. So we have plenty of money if
They have a bigger
they don't want to, but I'm assuming they don't want to participate as well.
Yeah.
So there will be some sort of a party and gathering and we'll make public announcements and so forth. So stay tuned, please. Last question I had as far as logistics and whatnot is, how's training going? You finding enough time to work together on?
Done quite a bit of training, we're gonna do some more this week and next week too.
But that's all
Girls
there
have
is.
lots of questions.
We'd like to be met with some grace come July 1st.
You will be.
Thank you.
We're broke for the first month anyways, so.
Yeah. Okay, Carl, we are now up to you. Item 7, CEDS update.
Okay. I believe the select board has the written report in your packet. And so tonight I'll address some of the major points in that written report and skip over some of the less significant points. But if you have a question about something, just stop me and ask. So first, regarding the industrial park, as stated, there's no progress on my review of the first rough draft of the bidding documents and the contract documents. I'll be getting onto that soon and soon I'll be clearing a hurdle with the RERC work. The first reimbursement request to NBRC is ready, but I had given you some forms that needed to be adopted and signed for changing the authorized official. So I'll need those when I get back into the office in order to submit that reimbursement request. Then the big news, I guess, is regarding the cost estimate, which Mumley Engineering has supplied. And their new estimate is roughly $1.1 million over what the town has secured money for or has its own money set aside for.
But
Well, Luke Wiley thinks that that estimate is high. It's difficult to think that bids would come in around the original estimate, considering that big difference. Again, as I get back to work on the industrial park, I'll be studying that estimate to see if I could see something that's obviously way over. But that's, that's Mumley's job. They should have that right. But I'll be looking for that and also looking for options to present to you for how the contract, the initial contract might be changed to get the price down closer to the money that you have available. One of those possibilities might be just eliminating the road and the infrastructure for Road B. So I'll get back to you on that. The best bet right now seems to be, and this is based on Luke's and my conversation, would be to get out to bid fairly soon with a flexible schedule, meaning the completion date could extend into next year. If those bids aren't acceptable, you would have time to reject all of those bids and then make some changes and go back out to bid in January, which would be an optimal time for getting better bids from contractors who are looking for projects to fill in their 2027 schedule. The Luke's estimate for completing the work in this project is 60 to 90 days. So it's not like we have to get started immediately in, say, April to get the job done by the completion date of September 30th, 2027. We would ideally like to have it done around in August, so there's time then for the paving to be done and have all the work completed by that deadline. Regarding the VORIC and the scoping study for the connection between the rail trail and Main Street, I'll just reiterate that I know you have a lot on your plate. There's a lot of issues and projects for the town to deal with right now. But that railroad street as the connection route is very likely to come up during the RERC planning. So it is something that I think you're going to have to answer sooner or later. So you might want to be thinking about discussing that project. Regarding the RERC, preparation for the community workshop is underway, and it is a lot of work. Just as expected when this grant award was announced, or it was told to me last summer, and I started looking into what this process was about. In the press release that I first wrote when we were told that Johnson was being awarded an RERC, I mentioned that this is a big deal and for several reasons, one of them being it's a lot of work, both now and coming up with the workshop and the editing of the action plan after the workshop. So today I drafted responses to part A or part 1 of the community self-assessment Those responses were based on the steering committee's input at their meetings. And I sent that off to the steering committee to get their thoughts and feedback. The second part of that community self-assessment has been completed. And this week, we're in the process of collecting the steering committee members' responses to the third part of the community self-assessment. And all of this is being done with the intention of submitting the completed self-assessment to the planning assistant team on this Friday. Work on spreading the word about the community workshop has begun. That workshop, again, is on August 27 and 28. A few of the town chairpersons have responded to the email that I sent out to them. That was encouraging to hear that they are interested in the topic. I told you about a couple of grants in your written report. And since then, I've heard from a couple members of the steering committee and a few other people who have an idea for a grant application. And they have sought some of my input from me on a few questions they have. So just today, I was working on that with those steering committee members. And I'll use this opportunity again to remind everyone about the community workshop for this Recreation Economy for Rural Communities grant. The workshop is scheduled for the evening of Thursday, August 27, and throughout the day on Friday, the 28th. The workshop will be held in Johnson at a location to be confirmed, but we are working on holding the workshop at a university space. For the select board, the plan that comes out of the workshop should have a major impact on the town. Some, but not all of the recommendations will be a town responsibility. So it would be good if you participated in the conversation instead of just saying no later on when people come to you and ask if the town's going to do certain things. And for the public, residents and business owners, you should note that if you participate in the workshop, then you will be able to participate in commenting on and editing the draft action plan. So you're like a full member of the committee if you attend the workshop. Regarding the Vermont Community Foundation grant for the visioning project, I mentioned in your notes there that the town was granted $6,500 total from two different sources, and the expenses came in at $6,336, leaving a balance of $164. So I would ask if the select board would consider sometime agreeing to, say, donate or spend that balance of $164 on refreshments at the RERC workshop. It seems that our steering committee conversation is moving towards that people will have to buy lunch on their own on Friday, the 28th, but it would be good to offer refreshments Thursday evening and during the day on Friday. So some money would be needed for drinks and cookies and so on. About the Holmes Meadow project, there is an update. Since I wrote the report you have, the final inspection was held on Thursday, June 11th. The gate has been installed. The mulch pile that's on site is not for the paths, but for finishing mulching around some trees and plants. Jessica, the engineer with SLR, provided a report after the the inspection last Thursday, and in that report, she listed 5 punch list items for Boulder to address. Her report also states that there is the first round of knotweed treatment was completed, which implies that there is another round of knotweed treatment coming. And also in her report, she noted that the restoration work at the town's former gravel pit has been completed. And last, I told you in your report that I was contacted by someone from the university's Upward Bound office. And I sent information off to some town officials, including committee and board chairpersons. And then and I also, I'm sorry, also advised the associate director from the university of a couple of projects that I thought sounded like they would be good for university student help. He responded by saying he'd like to get in direct contact with the appropriate chairperson. So I did that today, sent an email to each of the 3 chairpersons, copying the associate director. And so the ball is sort of in their court now to connect for your boards or committees to get the university students help. That's all that I have to add to the written report I submitted. Are there any questions?
Industrial park.
Yep.
Might be a long shot, but is there any chance at asking NBRC if there's a way to amend that amount because of the duration of time? We'd still have to come up with 50%, obviously, but with the higher numbers,
You don't know if you don't ask, right? So yes, we can ask.
it's a lot, but. Are we required to select the low bidder for that project? Because it's federal money?
You're not required to select the low bidder, but you have to state in the bidding documents what the criteria are for evaluating the bids. And then you have to show why you selected somebody other than the low bidder based on those criteria.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, it does.
For instance, time might be a consideration. If you want the work done within a certain number of days after work starts, which sometimes is a consideration for an owner, and one firm says, oh, they can easily do that, but somebody else can't commit to it, and you question whether they have the resources to complete the work as quickly as you want, you could skip the low bidder and go to the next responsible bidder.
Yeah, I seem to recall it was years ago, but Luke Willie was in a meeting with us. And he said, if we don't have enough money for the project, it can be trimmed back. I never really asked what specifically. I didn't, like, are they going for granite curb and we could use concrete or cheaper catch basins? I don't know. I'm a little concerned about cutting road B off, but that's the only way the project gets done. That's the only way. It seems smarter to me to not, and this is just like quick talking here. It seems smarter to me to shorten road A so that you don't have access to all the larger lots, but you could have access to some large and all the small. Then as you sold some of the larger lots, you could finish out road A, but logistically, I might be well in the wrong.
Yeah, he has mentioned to me several times before this came up about possibly scratching road B from the initial set of work. Because it is something that you could come back to later if there's the market there for those size lots that you find along Road B. I think that the advantage of completing Road A is that probably the most appealing or attractive lots in that park are going to be the ones at the end of the road. It's where the land is the most level. And some of the larger lots are up at the top. So I don't know that you have, you could shorten your development now of Road A, and then as you sell lots, incrementally extend the water and sewer lines and road. But I think that the lots up at the top are your best bet to sell right away.
Carl, you made a statement that the new estimate is much higher. That's kind of an understatement because that's over $1 million.
Yes, it's about 1.1 million.
This is turning into another money pit. Unbelievable.
I know it's unfortunate that it just in 3 years' time, the way things have been going with the economy, that prices are all over the place. And this estimate, as I noted in your report, Mumley produced with some of their own experience and using VTran's 2-year project history. So what they're seeing for prices in the past 2 years, this is what we came up with. But on the other hand, you might find a contractor who needs a job, and this would be very convenient for them. And so they might offer a very good price, and you might not be anywhere near that 3.2 million.
Yeah. You can wish in one hand and crap in the other too.
Yes, yes, I don't disagree, Mike. Right, and I guess what it comes down to is what Luke suggested, maybe the best bet is just get out there and find out what you can get for a price. And then if you have some time to react and still get the project done next year.
Carl, should we ask Luke to come in and have a discussion with us about possible cost savings, or is that something he can write down, or are you recommending we not do that at all right now?
How about if you let me work on it with Luke, and then depending on what he has to say, we could have him come to the meeting. If it seems like it's going to be a bit more technical type of explanations needed.
Okay. Other questions, Peter?
One thing that shows up in the report, not really a question for you, Carl. Thank you for all this. Good stuff. So looking at the Legion Field plan after our last meeting, and then seeing the reference to the playground here. I just want, before things get going too fast, too far, just register that I have some really serious concerns about the location of the playground as it is currently designed. It is basically next to the road, and we know that road to be a favorite speeding spot. Parked cars alongside the road, little children running around. I don't know a playground next to a road that doesn't have a chain link fence around it, and I don't think we want a chain link fence. So I just want to put it out there that before we let things go too far, that we really give some serious thought to a safe location for the playground.
Good point, Peter.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And one other note about Legion Field, when they put in the water to the pizza oven, I think they did it like in the winter, but when they did it, they ripped up the ground really bad there. So I think we either need to put some topsoil and grass seed on there, or it's kind of a convenient spot. Like it looks like a path, like an unmaintained path, and we could make it an actual path if we wanted to. But either way, we need to do something about it because it's kind of like a tripping hazard.
It runs over towards the library.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can that be graded by the work that you're planning to do on Legion Field?
Yeah,
Let's say
that's supposed to happen at the
The end of-
end of the summer though. Yeah.
Are there any more questions on Carl's report? So we don't hold him up.
Beth,
I totally second what you said about the playground, I didn't realize that, terrible idea, and. On the industrial park, I'm curious if anything, it's been 10 years, it's been more than 10 years, I don't remember the exact timing.
15.
No, wait, let me finish my sentence
Yeah.
before you comment, please.
Yeah,
It's been more than 10 years
Yeah.
since the demand study was
Yeah.
created, it's probably been closer to 15 years, maybe 20 even, for that demand. So do we have an understanding of what the demand, hi Carl, by the way, what the demand is in terms of who would potentially go in there? Because if you're thinking about cutting off a whole section that would be for smaller businesses or smaller rental spaces. I can understand why a contractor wouldn't want to do that work, it's more tedious. But if we don't have an understanding what the demand is, and a lot has changed over this duration, more than I would argue more than what has historically changed in any period of time between the pandemic and the way that technology is changing our worlds today. So if we have an idea of what the demand is, that should help with decisions around what gets trimmed and what doesn't. But if we don't have a sense of that demand, are we shooting ourselves in the foot by not diversifying the lots available when it does go out? Lease.
yep, great point. Thank you. Mike?
Another point in here is, basically Mumley and him are just guessing on price. I do construction all the time, anywhere from 150 million down. You can't get an accurate number on cutting anything until you really get a number that somebody's gonna put their hide on. So it's just two part, one over here was like 1.5 million, and one for 440,000. You may have another one sitting right down here because nobody's got any work and you gotta lay guys off to find something. Until you get a couple contractors to put a number on it, the whole Dodge City say, here you go. Because the big guys that have come in to do this, that make business, they'll blow that thing out like nothing. I mean, they build things like that in months, not years. And the next thing is really,
So before you go on, so are you suggesting that we just get the RFP out and see what people bid as step one?
I think you were talking about cutting stuff out.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understand your point. Okay,
Yeah, you don't know what it is until you get a number, hey, such and such is here and they're gonna do it. Second part of this is, I sat at a meeting over here 2 years ago, sat right beside of Mumley's van, and I said, when's this gonna be ready to bid? We will have this ready for the spring, 2 years ago. It didn't happen, then this, then this, then this. We were the only ones in the state with an industrial park ready to go. And we're still not done. I have some real concerns about dragging feet. I'm not a dragging feet guy. I think, don't take this wrong, guys. You select board step up and say, it is going to happen now. Every day, somebody's looking for a piece of land, they're going somewhere else. I wanted this up and running, I said that right at that meeting that night. And we're still not there, and if these guys cannot do this. And sorry, guy, I don't know you. Find somebody who can, done. Don't wait, let's go. We're missing stuff every day, we've missed 2 years, and how much did it still cost us and cost us and cost us? Everybody says it, nobody's told you guys. I've told Evan, it's time to get going. Find somebody. Let's go, we'll take it on ourselves. If nobody wants to get on this bandwagon and keep pushing, let's go. You have took part in the difference in costs already. You're seeing road prices come out, you're seeing high prices. You're seeing carpenters and electricians that aren't working. These will happen if you just put it out. Let's see what the numbers are. Maybe I'm 100% wrong. At least we'll have a number to work with before we start about cutting something, wasting more time for this and that. Put it out there. Let's go. Say we're ready to do this. We want to start now. Done. What are we gonna do? Say no, it's too big, we're not gonna do it. You're already talking about it already. You're already talking next year. Now is the time to burn daylight, now. Do the whole thing.
thanks, Mike. Duncan?
I'm gonna try and blend what Mike just said.
Sorry.
That's it, with his suggestion. I have a lot of concerns also about simply cutting out the lower lots in the so-called B road, whatever they're calling it. One way you might be able to address that. And maybe some of Evan's suggestions is come up with some alternates. In there, and they can bid on the whole thing, and the alternate can be something that they can do as a deduct. If, I agree with Mike, you should put it out there, see what comes back, and then make your decision based on that. But if you had some alternates in there, it would at least give you some flexibility on accepting a bid or not. So, just about. Well, the other thought I had is, to Beth's point, I don't know if Memorial Economic Development, Pat Ripley is being consulted on the demand piece, the need. You know, what does the county need out there? But if he isn't, he simply should.
Thanks, Duncan. Other comments? Dana?
I wonder what the obligation the town has to who the potential tenants are gonna be. And what might happen to the land if you choose to not develop it further because it becomes cost prohibitive. I just was reading a headline today about a farmer who donated a piece of land, something. It was like 87 acres or something, or maybe it was $87. Anyway, basically donated it to a town. And then the town drug their feet and project dragged on and dragged on. And then in the end, despite the farmer's request that it be used for the public good, this piece of land ended up being sold for $10 million for a data center. And I just, I just wonder, it makes me wonder, both if the project comes through, what control the select board has over who might be there. And if it doesn't go through, how you might decide to dispose of the land and who you might think about giving it to or selling it to.
I hope you're not really asking for an answer to that right now.
No.
It's a really good place to
We
consider that.
talked about limitations through like park covenances. And ultimately we decided not to limit use.
Yeah, and it
That
doesn't
answer
seem
that?
appropriate to a data center.
And we've-
The
and
other
we've-
hand, might be hard to turn down $10 million.
And we've never talked about what would happen if the project didn't happen. I tend to agree, getting an RFP out, small deducts, so we have some flexibility and we can keep moving is probably the smartest thing. That's the general consensus.
Mike,
Just a little one, just remember, and I'm sure he's gonna tell you this, certain part of once you open this up in there with storm ponds and all the rest of the stuff we go in there. You may get started into a project, and if the soil's the wrong type and it starts to run in, you're gonna have to finish this because you gotta stabilize it. Because that's a pipe, it's gonna move. And if you just open it up and just shore it, let it go, and you don't do the rest, it'll cost you a lot more money. A lot more. So they may turn out and say, you start it, finish it. Because you'll have erosion problems like you've never seen. That's steep.
yep. Okay, any other comments or questions for Carl?
Oh, that looks great.
Sorry,
Palms Meadow looks great. I
It
went
does.
yesterday.
it does.
Do you need a motion to spend that $164 left over from Johnson Visioning
I
on the
think we need to,
pre-rec?
I think we need to ask if we can do that with the funding agencies, so I can reach out to them and
Okay,
find out. Okay, Carl, thank you very much. Thorough report as usual.
Have a good night.
You too. All right, next item 8, TNL requesting a road behind the library to the bandstand. Howard, over to you. Someone up here in front.
There, you got what I see. Hey, stop. We're all ready. All right, hi.
You got a license for that thing?
No,
Clearly.
clearly I don't. Okay, so it turns out that this will to bring anybody up to speed who's not there. We need a second entrance to Legion Field. It's a safety issue more than anything. It's a convenience issue for use of bandstand. Storage container alongside of it, but mostly. We need a second way to get off that field if there's an emergency or beyond it. The best way to do that is to extend the parking lot behind the library. Changing nothing about what's on the architectural plans at all. Just at the end of the parking area. So on the left-hand side, you got the library proper. On the right-hand side, all the way off our site here, you have the road that goes up around the elementary school. In between that, you have some pedestrian way. And I think it's about an 8 or a 10 car parking lot. Which has it's a single-sided parking lot, which is to say there's an active drive approach on the library side and truck parking on the right side. The architects included a backout space at the top of that, near the back of the library, at the back of the library. So that cars backing out of the upper 2 spots have a place to get their tail lights into and then go down, get away, right? That is an excellent height. It's just the right height to have practically no pitch at all to get to hang a left after you go up there and go right to the bandstand and then on. It is so easy to do. John took some photographs of it today or yesterday. And they show, or it shows the fact that there's plenty of room for the road. It doesn't impact anything. It turns out to be a perfect way to settle this issue. So that's what I've drawn. And verified it with site conditions and all like that. You should be good to go. I don't really care as long as it's hard. You know, it could be either way.
That was gonna be my question. Do we really need a road or we just need an access
We
point?
need an access road. I mean, yes, this is not gonna be open this is not a year-round road by my vision. There's no reason to be going up and down there in the winter. So, I expect that the head of it is gonna be, plowed with snow plow from the library lot. Would be nice to have it firm enough so that a heavy emergency vehicle doesn't, after a rain, doesn't disappear in flood. There's plenty of that fluvial soil there. On the site of this. The stuff that came out of Holmes Meadow. It compacts well. It's good stuff from what I can tell, and I did a little research into what that stuff is used for in other places. It can get pretty side and pretty soupy on a real torrential week of rain. So we will probably want to mix stone broken rock at the top.
Oh, 80 or something like that, that's snow.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
You can drive everywhere,
Right.
so grass will go right through it.
Do you have a rough budget and suggestion for money?
Do it all. Get approval, motion first.
Conceptual approval, is that what you're looking for?
So I'm
Alright.
I'm doing this for free. I'm not doing anything
I'm-
extra.
I make a motion for conceptual approval.
I like these meetings. We have lots of chairs. It really works well. I don't have to do that much.
You can cut it off.
Comments and questions from the board?
I want to do that.
Hang on.
You want to what?
Motion, take a second.
Go for it.
Remind me on the RFP, because on the plan, we have a directional light going in. Was that included on the work that's being done?
Oh, what?
A directional area light.
It's just an area light.
This is
A light.
Does that interfere with the road you want to put there? Okay,
Yeah, the lights on the building.
what? No, on this approved map,
Oh,
the light.
it can stay and go. I don't really care as long as it's not on the road.
Well, I want to make sure that the work wouldn't be interfering with each other.
We don't really know if we have enough money for the lights on poles anyway at this point. Is that correct?
As far as I know, go, but I mean,
Always.
we really haven't explored that.
Okay.
But the RFP that we accepted for the Legion field work, did it include that light?
No,
There was two addendums,
No.
and the two addendums were canceled. based on
Okay.
budget.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Personally, I think we should just hold off until the library project's completed.
please don't do that.
Okay, let's have a motion in a second, then we can discuss further.
Right, I motion to conceptually accept
Sorry,
the idea. We don't have any funds for it, so we're not doing it right now, but
Right. I mean, it's almost done now.
if you come up with funds.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have? All those in favor?
aye,
I was gonna say, do we want to do
Well,
further comments first?
yeah, further comments first. Beth, go ahead.
Which was that I know from personal experience that there are a number of village utilities involved that run through Legion Field that go multiple directions. And I was just thinking you might want to make sure the village is on board with this concept too, considering their utilities.
Big Saber's already had their way with this.
Oh, for the path that you want to use to get to the bandstand. Okay, never mind, that was all.
So it doesn't affect the electric vault just back there
Now we're going
somewhere.
around the outside of the vault. And all those power lines to that vault, to the library, to the bandstand are on the.
Yeah, I think
on the,
I think Beth's talking about the water line
I'm talking about
that
water.
goes across.
Oh, the water line, that's on the other side of the bandstand. That's my understanding.
So you not,
Yeah,
okay, point still stands, it would be worth.
point made.
with village. Yeah.
Further discussion. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor for conceptual approval to investigate further, I guess. And we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
To explore funding or
it's conceptual.
Just conceptual approval.
To explore the
If they
concept.
come back with
Huge.
funding, I'm not gonna say no, don't do it.
okay, sure. Aye.
Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstaining? All right, the ayes have it.
Now, what do you want, what would you like me? I'm not gonna do anything about funding until I get to that live up and running. For obvious reasons. But if you want me to do something about the funding, the search for funding, let me know now or take it on yourself.
No, Howard, go ahead and write the check, it's okay.
No, that's.
I think we need funding for other things.
You've done an excellent job. Phil.
Yeah, it's just write the check.
Okay, let's not,
And then we can wipe.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's it.
You were paying attention earlier, that's good. All right, so we have conceptual approval to look into this. I think at this point, we have to discuss who's going to search for funding, Howard. So I don't want to get pinned down to deciding that right this second, but I understand you can't do it immediately. But conceptual approval to look into it. We need to have some idea what it's going to cost before we start looking for money. Any other discussion on this matter?
The library's cool with this?
I have no idea. But I shouldn't think they'd mind, we haven't touched a single thing
Right.
added on there at the time, so.
That would be going through is
Could
it
you-
our property now or their property?
Well, it's all town property.
But-
property.
But so
Is
we own the land though?
And the building.
We own the land and the building?
Outside of that, we're responsible for everything.
state.
Okay, so we have a number of things to look into. And that's certainly one. Howard, anything else?
Now, oh, yeah, one other thing, quickly, so the other curb cut that we do have. Was recently put in by the village, it's up by where the west side of the field at School Street. It's fairly narrow, people park there, I have sprayed yellow paint on it, nobody pays any attention to that. Could I please have a no parking between this sign and that sign? Signs on poles up there. I can take care of it for Tuesday night live nights, because I'll just, at 10 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, dawn, I don't know. Night of a performance, I'm gonna go down there and set cones up on.
Talk to Isabel, there's stakes in rack storage.
There's what?
There are stakes in rack storage. You can put them up for the soccer coming up. Talk to Isabel Sullivan. She might be able to help you.
I'm looking for permanent signs.
Do we need that parking spot permanently blocked off when we're not using Legion Field?
Do we need it to get on? Well, I don't know, but you know, if somebody, if we did. Once we have the entry from the back, then the grass people can get on there, the mowers can get in. I can't tell you whether we need it every. I do know that several times I've been unable to get on because people have been parking there. And without another entrance, I was stuck and we, you know, I think Mike Lanford there, you know, with a big truck. And all that stuff, we couldn't get on the field, you can't go back to Waterville, because we couldn't find the owner of the cars. So it's a problem.
Okay. Board,
So it's not a right way down going through to Chuckleberry down to fixing the Kingdom House. Right where the ball field used to be, used to go from there down to like the garbage giant back, people spots. What we're talking about, and you too. Maybe it's a little bit wrong. Chuckleberry, that drive that used to walk back and forth with the kids.
Are those-
what's the procedure for signs like that?
Oh, no.
What's the procedure for signs like that?
Not hard.
Okay, let's wrap this up, if we don't mind. We'll take the request for signs under advisement. Okay,
That's all.
all right, next item. Thank you, Howard, is LCPC service agreement. At our last meeting, we agreed to a service agreement with LCPC to increase the Holmes Meadow buyout and floodplain restoration agreement for administrative services. And we now have specific amounts from them of $30,000. We've already approved this, so we just have to sign.
No, we need to motion to authorize Select Board Chair Paul Warden to sign on behalf of the town. Service,
That last meeting,
huh?
we did that last meeting.
So why do you need our authorization to sign?
I don't think we do, honestly, but. Okay, well, let's make sure that it's clear that I'm authorized to sign. I have a motion? We've already approved the agreement and the amount.
Right,
Move the chair, be authorized to sign the agreement for administrative services between the town of Johnson and LCPC.
amendment number 3. Second,
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
aye,
I,
All those opposed?
Nay, I believe I voted that.
Yep. Okay, the ayes have it.
staying consistent.
Next item is the Johnson Skate Park. John, you want to tee that up?
Yes, got an updated budget. I had a chance to sit down with Rosemary. We looked at what we had for funding and there was some other accounts that I wasn't aware of. So I put together a spreadsheet based on Rosemary's number. We got a beginning balance as of July 1, 2024, $24,156.15. Fund used for pipe construction was $10,051.95. So we had an ending balance on June 30, 2025 of $14,194.20. So going down through some of the reserve accounts, we got a balance on the Community Foundation Lost Recreation Equipment. We've got $1,722.01. We have an insurance payment from Vermont League of Cities and Towns for the shed of $4,444.50. We got a FEMA payment received September 5th, 2024 of $23,233.85. We got a FEMA payment received July 9th, 2025 of $121,169.23. And the town match per FEMA was $16,155.82. Gives us a total amount of $181,919.61. Flood expenses as of May 19th, 2026 of $11,146.34 gives us a total available of $170,773.27. So going forward, the current amount unspent in the 25-26 budget is $2,655.05. Anticipating fundraising for 2026, local and online. If we remember the quote from Catamount Construction said he was going to raise $5,000. Talking to Casey, You know, she was gonna raise about 3,000. We've got, in the 2027 capital improvement budget, $5,000. So it's gonna give us a total available of 186,428.32. Total project cost, 200,155. Minus the funds available of 186,428.32. This project has a funding deficit of about $13,726.68. So I was gonna ask the board, you know, what were their thoughts about, could we add some funding to the 25-26 budget? I talked to Rosemary, she said we're in pretty good shape. See what we can do to bring down that 13,000. And then maybe the select board would consider a revolving loan for the remainder. We got an extension from FEMA. It's our second extension that went from June 30, 2026 to December 31st, 2026. I don't know if we'll get a third one. I'd like to see what we can do to start the project this summer. And we did find out too from permitting. We got a notice going in the paper that on March 10th, an application filed by the town of Johnson was deemed to be complete on June 3rd. The project generally described as addition of a new concrete flat bottom bowl to be constructed on an existing skate park. The bowl will have a slope grass berm, short path to the southeast end to connect to an existing asphalt skating area. The project's located at 178 Westcott Road in Johnson, Vermont. The application will be viewed on the Land Use Review Board's website. Click on Act 2250 database and enter the project number 5L0179C. So no hearing will be held and a permit will be issued unless on or before July 6, 2026, unless a party notifies District 5 Commission in writing of an issue requiring a hearing, or the commission sets the matter for a hearing on its own motion. So we look like we're getting through to the permit process. That should be done on or about July 6th. So I just wanted to talk to the board, get their thoughts on the project.
What was the number you talked about perhaps being available from the 25-26 budget?
Well, I talked to Rosemary and, you know, we look like we're pretty good for this year. I was hoping to get 10,000 on this year's budget. Then that would leave us about 37-26. And I mean, you know, we could fundraise that in the next year or two. If we did a revolving loan, you know, the payments would be extremely small. The yearly payments, we should be able to make that with no issue.
And we could get it done.
Get it off our plate.
Yeah.
Steve, are you comfortable with that approach?
Yes, I am.
Was-
Two things, contractor can't set a schedule until we are clear Act 50. You know, it's just not possible. But if y'all are clear on it, I think it would be the best move to accept a bid from the contractor with the contractor, and, you know, at least get that set. If y'all are comfortable with it. Because that would help.
Well, I think we agreed last time that we weren't going to accept the bid until we had the money squared away.
I understand that. But yeah, we're comfortable and confident.
Comments from the board? So John, your suggestion, if I understand it correctly, is take $10,000 from our surplus from within this current year.
Yes.
And that leaves, whatever leaves, roughly $3,700 for to be funded from the revolving loan fund, which the skate park would then fundraise to pay back over.
If it's needed.
Let's get this ball rolling. Don't want to fill it anymore. What he said.
You said revolving loan fund.
Why not?
Yeah, well, to make up the difference, so we know the money's available. And I did look at the revolving loan fund, and, you know, it does say funding can be used for community facilities.
No, it meets all the criteria.
Are you questioning why to use that as opposed to surplus or?
Yeah.
Would you care to elaborate?
No. I mean,
Yeah, I knew
we
you
have,
said
$54,000 unspent from 24-25. We could have a special town meeting and just ask. Can we just use 13,000 of that? Take no loan, plus headaches.
I don't care how it's done,
Is
just
there-
let's get it done.
Is there enough excess in the grant match reserve fund? On top of our commitment for MDRC? We've been stashing money in there pretty good.
It could be.
This isn't really a grant.
We also got the building and grounds reserve fund too.
We could come out of buildings and ground reserve fund,
We're
full
gonna have-
13,000.
Gonna have. Close to $20,000 in there at the end of the year.
Take it out of there then. Let's just get it done tonight, someone.
I
Let's
feel like
see.
$10,000 as a loan to ourselves is way too much headache. On office staff, for not really the game, because we'd have to pay it back to ourselves anyways, and we can't take a loan out for longer than what? 12 months?
I think the suggestion was $10,000 from our current budget and the 3,700 from the revolving loan fund.
Yes.
We're only talking about $3,700.
Yeah, it's even
I
smaller.
mean, if
Just
we
write
want,
out a check for that.
That's a rounding error in our budget.
and I mean, if the board wanted to use the buildings and ground funds, that's fine too. I just. These are some of my thoughts to try to put together some numbers there that would be acceptable to the board, just get all rolling.
If we're using buildings and grounds funds, are all of our other buildings up to snubs? Like Old Mill House? Or, I don't know, like. Buildings that provide services to people. I'm in favor of the skate park and I want it to be completed, but. Thinking about. Priority wise, our spending on. Town properties. It's a little lower than like the food shelf building and. Other buildings that need maintenance.
What's the projection of our surplus? What are we talking if we don't go into building and grounds fund, we just go from straight from surplus? Do you have a feeling for that?
Probably $100,000. After we do the 184 taxes.
That was gonna be my next question, so thank you for adding that in, okay?
Would it help to have a motion to provide the anticipated shortfall of 13,700 from 2025-26 surplus? Would that be a way to go?
Yes.
I would make a motion that we provide from 25-26 surplus an amount up to $14,000.
Second.
Discussion?
You can't do that. I don't think. Maybe this is just a procedure thing. You're just motioning to fund up to $14,000. The surplus is not ours. That's the taxpayers. We have the money, we can spend it, but we can't spend the surplus money. That has to be done at town meeting day. So your motion is to just provide $14,000 in this fiscal year for this project.
I get it.
I could be thinking this over too much.
Yeah, okay.
But specifically, you're saying that not from the building and grounds or first, reserve
Correct.
fund, just from the general
Yeah.
fund.
Yeah, put it
Yeah.
from,
Spend
put
up
it
to
from the budget.
$14,000. Okay, I would point out, this does assume that the other 8,000 is gonna get raised somehow. By Catamount, or you buy.
So
Okay, so
we need,
we have a motion,
do I need to make a new motion?
just clarify your motion for us, if
Okay.
you would, please.
That we provide up to $14,000 to complete the skate park project. How's that?
That's it.
And Mike is second,
It's kind of vague, isn't it?
Well, based on the date, had to be spent in this fiscal year,
Yeah, okay.
or at least be
Okay.
carried over.
Further discussion? Comments from the floor? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay,
Nay.
So Evan and Adrian were both.
correct.
Okay, I vote aye, so the ayes have it.
Darn it, Paul. We're closest to you. You want us to be happy with you.
I have a follow-up question. Vis-a-vis the grants, and, you know, the grant approval process and stuff for writing them. John and I have a list that we're working on already. Do we have, do we need to come to you for each and every grant, or John and I just work that out?
The board needs to be notified
no
for
match grants.
no match grants.
Oh, yeah.
You can notify us through John. For our
What's the
policy we
word?
just passed.
Yeah, we just passed that one.
Yeah.
Last one.
Yep.
Thank you. I just wanted to.
If they're match grants, then we need to know about each and every one.
This was
Yeah.
another deal which is a long time coming, really. I really appreciate the work that the Romero's have done on this. whole
It's
thing.
not just us.
I know, but you still spearhead it.
Yeah, I should publicly recognize the vast amount of free professional help that either skate park advocate, Vermont skate park advocates and Catamount Skate Parks Inc. have provided us all the way through with professional design and CAD drawings and ever since the get-go, FEMA. ever
Didn't it
since-
start out like 225,000, and then they trimmed it up and they do a bunch of stuff on that.
More complicated.
Yeah.
Let's not go there.
Anyway, it's less money than it was for this one.
No, this. No. No. I can explain it better, but I don't.
I think this is a quit while you're ahead, Casey.
So,
Quit while you're ahead.
so the,
Um,
now that the funding is dealt with, we never selected a contract.
We did not, that's
All
correct.
we do is have funding right now. So the project won't go forward.
You did select Catamount.
Yes.
Oh.
You expressed wanting to work.
To keep talking with them.
Yeah,
Did
we
we
didn't,
motion to accept a bid
No.
from a
no,
contract?
we specifically
Okay.
did not.
Say that she. And soonish.
Put it on our next meeting, I guess, if we're waiting on Act 50.
Yeah, we
All this
specific-
is a funding solve, that's it, that's my point.
Right, so we specifically did not accept their bid. Okay, next item. Thank you, Casey.
You,
Item 11 is to establish the tax rate.
I think this one is worded funny.
Yeah. John, why don't you run us through this?
Well, I get I think that Evan sent a email about talking about a tax rate. And one of the concerns was if we're looking to do a bond or do a borrow for the industrial park, how are those numbers gonna affect the tax rate? And I do understand that there's a, what is it, a period that Justin has to wait for people that can have an issue or concern with their tax bills, and that date won't be until was it June 17th?
Yeah, we won't set the tax rate tonight. My concern tonight is that I believe we need to select a loan term for the industrial park bond so that a tax rate can be estimated based on what we'll pay. No board has ever selected a term. I think we should go the projection of using the 30-year Vermont bond bank term. I'd be willing to make that motion.
So that's more than just a term. You're suggesting a source as well. That's really what you mean?
I mean, I'm selecting their schedule in terms of estimating the tax rate. Obviously, we found somehow better terms or better interest rate, and the interest rate dropped, our projections would be wrong. And we'd collect too much money in taxes, and then the surplus would be the voters to deal with on town meeting day. But I think, are those Vermont bond bank sheets in here?
Yes.
Where?
It's a separate,
They're attached to this one.
it's this, right?
Yes. You got on through it, I did get a quote from USDA Rural Development. Their number was 4.75%. I did get a quote from Union Bank for a 15 and 20-year term for the 590,000 that was approved at town meeting. For a 15-year, it was 550 fixed, and for 20 years, it was 5.79 fixed. Looking at the bond bank, for 590 for 20 years was 4% fixed. And then for 30 years was 4.43 fixed. And then I put $1 million down for comparison, just to see what the number was.
Yeah. So my motion for estimating the tax rate before or after. You might make me look like a fool, so you might as well go first.
Go ahead, Duncan.
I fully support what your motion is gonna be. My suggestion would be to make sure the bond bank rate is updated.
Yep.
Correct? And if it is,
Yeah, he just got the sheets.
Yeah, I just got the sheets.
perfect.
So my motion for projecting next year's tax rate is to estimate it based on the Vermont Bond Bank loan of 590,000 at a 4.43% fixed rate for 30 years, which would equate to $45,379 per year in payments. Although you have to look at that sheet because the first year is not that full amount.
Right. And the other thing too with the bond bank is, we would set it up as like a construction loan with a local bank. And as the invoices come in, we would pay the invoices off that construction loan. Then when the project was done, then we go to the bond bank for that 590 and get that done and pay off the construction loan.
I'll second.
The only downside with the bond bank is it's a 30-year term and you cannot prepay.
Correct. You can, you just have to pay the interest.
But to be clear, you're not suggesting we're necessarily committing to the bond bank tonight. You're suggesting we use that schedule to estimate the tax rate.
Correct. I'm not motioning to apply for the loan.
Right.
But we have to set the tax rate based on some figures. It can't be a feeling. That's the figure.
Right.
We're setting it in July, not tonight.
Right.
You want a
No second.
You have a motion and a second discussion.
Did Lydia have something to present with this?
Sorry.
I think Lydia needs direction on what we need to do to do the calculations with Rosemary to
Okay.
provide us with a sheet that we rubber stamp.
Okay.
Do you have comments, questions, either of you on this? Okay.
Bond bank payments are usually only twice a year.
Yeah, the first 6 months is interest only, the second 6 months is interest and principal. Were you on those schedules that got sent out?
Yeah.
Can you send those to?
But that's the way it is with it.
Yeah, you should have those in your packet there, the schedules. The May term's got the principal and interest, and then the November term is interest only.
Right,
They have a application time only twice a year.
which probably during construction, we would have the line of credit. And we would have to apply and roll in.
The interest on the line of credit, is that part of the project cost?
Up in the air.
That's something we'll have to investigate. Huh? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. The motion is to estimate the tax rate based on the Vermont Bond Bank amount 590 at 4.43 fixed rate for 30 years. Yeah, we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Please say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you for looking into that and commenting. Okay, next item is the Gomo lot, proposed easement and survey contribution. Hi, step right up.
Thank you. I'm Molly Flanagan, from Maps Club. This is a new proposal. I was hoping to start a conversation with you guys today. I'm not sure if we'll get to a decision or if it's the start of a conversation, but would you like me to give you a little bit of overview of where this request is coming from? Sure, before.
Sure, that'd be good for the record. Sure, thank you.
Okay. Great. I'm here tonight to ask for your consideration for a trail easement for the existing route of the long trail across the Vermont Town Forest. I've met with the Conservation Commission a couple of times over the past few months this spring about this matter, and they've offered their unanimous support for this proposal as documented in the May 28th letter that Lois emailed the board. So a quick overview of where this request is coming from and what we're offering or asking for and hopefully offering is that for the past 40 years, GMC has been working to legally protect the route of the Long Trail. This is a really invaluable effort for us to ensure public access to the statewide hiking trail network, to establish our ability as a nonprofit whose mission is to maintain the trail, to have it in its most optimal route so it can offer connectivity across the whole state and be a footpath along the ridgeline of the mountains, and conserving land to make it a footpath in the wilderness, which is the tagline trail. We've done quite a bit of work in Johnson over the past 40 years, so thank you to the town for your support as we've come forward with requests over the years. When we started this effort, there were over 80 miles of long trail that were on private land that we were seeking to protect. Today, we're just down to 4.5 miles. So we've made huge progress towards this goal, and the Gomo Town Forest is one of the last remaining parcels that we're seeking to work with the landowner to legally protect. So we're coming to the town to ask for two different things. One is to consider a trail right-of-way easement. So this would be for the trail corridor, which we define as 1,000 feet wide, but 500 feet on either side of the trail where you walk. An easement is a legal document on top of somebody else's property. And so all the terms are open for negotiation for what that property uses are and landowners' interests. Talking with the Conservation Commission, they expressed interest in formalizing how timber management and the parking lot / log landing would be used, since the trail runs right through that. So that has been one topic that's been flagged for, thinking about the terms of this right of way, and everything else is on the table for negotiating what would make sense for the trail and the town. So we're asking for a trail right of way easement, and then we're also asking if you would consider a right of first refusal for the property should the town ever consider a third party bid to buy the lot. So only if the town was ever in the future open to selling the property, this legal document would give the Green Mountain Club a chance to match that offer dollar for dollar per acre if it made sense at that future time. In recognition of these very meaningful trail protections, we would like to offer to cover the legal costs that the town would incur for granting these trail protections up to $1,000, so that hopefully you don't expend funds in considering this request. And then we'd also like to offer to contribute $5,000 towards the Gomo Town Forest property survey. I understand that's something that the town has been working toward, and as fellow land stewards, we recognize how critical boundary surveys are to being able to take care of a place. So we would like to offer that in recognition of our shared stewardship goals for this property. Finally, I'll just say that GMC has worked with other towns in Vermont to protect the Long Trail in this way. It's the form that we've used with other communities. So we hold trail right-of-ways with the town of Bolton, with the town of Proctor, and actually with the village of Johnson. We have a trail right-of-way easement for the land off of Reservoir Road. So I'll stop there. Happy to answer questions.
I had a quick question. Excuse me, with regard to the map. Excuse me, as it's drawn, you said 500 feet on either side, but this looks like it's considerably more on one side than the other based on what we have.
That's good. That's our property boundary.
The trail is very close to the property boundary.
Right.
Um,
I see that, but so what, the easement is not 500 feet on either side?
no, it would go to wherever the property boundary is on the west side, which is relatively close, and then it would go 500 feet to the east side.
Right.
And then that would be the scope of the proposed easement.
I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but and that's 1,000 foot right away to that property,
It's not really 1,000 feet, but
still. It's a big right away.
before I give my opinion. The board needs to know that I've been talking with Molly for a few years on not this property. I don't see how I would financially benefit at all from giving my opinion on this, but do you guys not want me to? I can bow out. if I need to
See
do
that
it
as an
too.
issue.
What'd you say?
Like-
I said I can. I don't see how I would financially benefit from my opinions on this, but I have been dealing with the Long Trail for 2.5 years or so. Molly specifically,
No.
and I can recuse myself if anybody wants.
Mike, you have a
Why don't
comment?
you just buy it right now?
Mike, go ahead.
You know, something Mike just had a right point. So if you go back in history, Rosemary did this, we tried to sell that and the taxpayer said no. Now that we're coming up to 21 more lots of land coming in the village down here, we're coming into quite a stewardship of land that the taxpayers, we get nothing from. I'm not saying it's gonna be a taxpayer decision. Before you start out right away and you're taking 1,000 feet out of center, why don't we turn around and it's your board decision to bring whatever. I think before sell that one, Pringle, and all these other lots we have, and just let us keep right of ways for our taxpayers to go out and walk it if they want to. And whatever, I know a long time ago, they were willing to do it, if they wanna go have a picnic, that's why the taxpayers kept it. We wanna go up there, we'll turn around up there and go have a picnic up there, well, if you walk that property, and the young man in back has, there's ruts of berry, break your legs. I mean, really, who's gonna walk up there? I mean, I've been up there many times, I haven't seen anybody up there. I think we ought to turn around, it's my opinion, 2 cents. I think we were talking about, let's see if they'll buy it.
Oh, yeah.
My take home. But I'm telling you, I tried this years ago. We've got a lot of other land. Rosemary and I are a couple of the only ones that don't even know where they are. Yeah, get rid of them. We got all this land coming right next to the river. What do we need more for? Let's put it on the tax list.
Right.
Are you cool with that?
Can we hear from the Conservation Commission?
Lois here.
Well, they rubber stamp it anyway.
Yeah, just like if you had more context or opinion you'd want to offer, Lois?
Get a little close to the sound. We didn't rubber stamp it, we put a lot of time into it. And we're stewards of the land in town, all the land that's coming following the flood is in the village. This is a beautiful piece of forest land, our own town forest, and we wholeheartedly endorse doing this. If 1,000 feet seems too wide, that's the standard, but it's negotiable, we could settle for a little bit less. But the land is used, there are people up there, when we've been up there. We maintain it by pruning the apple trees and doing brush hogging for the wildlife. And I just hate to see the town sell that piece of land. My opinion, but the Conservation Commission has felt the same way, and that's why we worked with Molly and brought all this to you. So we hope you'll think twice and support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lois. Duncan?
So I have the same concern about the width of the right of way. 1,000 feet seems like a lot to me. I think the town should keep it as it is a town forest. It's not really costing us much, and it won't add very much to the tax roll if you put it, if you sell it. The one thing that you should consider, though, is you guys are stewards of that piece of property. It belongs to the taxpayers of the town of Johnson, the voters of the town of Johnson. I'm not sure that you can get a right of first refusal on it because there is statutory requirement that if you sell a property, there's I think a 10-day period by which any citizen in the town can request public vote on the sale of it. So I don't know. I would suggest that you, before you do that, you contact the town attorney and see if we actually could grant a right of first refusal. I'm totally in favor of granting him an easement, but it just seems to me that 1,000 feet, now, given what Mike said, maybe at some point in time, the voters will decide they don't want that piece of property, and that 1,000 foot is a pretty good encumbrance on a piece of property.
Scott?
Yeah, I just wanted to be in favor of this. Right away does seem big. But Johnson historically has been a restock town for people who are through hiking. Vermont's based on a recreation economy. We've talked about making Johnson a recreation economy. And here it is, right?
Yep.
So I'm in full support, and the details, work those out later.
Yeah. I'm not a resident of the town, but I surveyed up against Long Trails easements and properties. And in certain places, they didn't give the full easement of the 500 feet. They basically took steep slope view shed, so anybody hiking on the trail wasn't looking at clear cuts or logging operations, but they, depending on the slope and the terrain as it goes through, the easement changed. And sometimes it was narrow because anybody hiking on the trail would have never known what was going on below. And the value usually in those areas was a lot less for the town or timber or anything like that because it's so steep. But in any kind of area that could be harvested or something, it might have been less, but it's usually a little flatter terrain. And when you're on the trail, you don't see through those trees. You know, you're not up at a point where you're just looking down over a clear cut. It's just what I've seen either hiking the trail and studying surveying.
So you're saying there's no viewpoints in this stretch?
What I'm saying is it doesn't necessarily have to be, I have seen it on parts of the trail where it's not uniform 500 feet from the center line of the trail. There are places where there might be a cliff face there, like up by the locks in Waterville, and they can't see to the other side of that. That's within 500 feet, so they don't get that. So
Right,
it would be terrain specific.
Conversely, if there was a viewpoint, you'd have more than 500 feet?
No, I wouldn't do, I've never seen that except for, well, maybe, actually, I would go here.
Yeah, it often just depends on where the parcel.
Yeah, where the parcel's end, yeah.
Because
Because it still might be private forest.
The 500 foot metric comes from the National Park Service standard. They did some assessments and determined that that was the average distance that a hiker could see during leaf off. And so that was the National Park Service standard for protecting the Appalachian Trail. And so the Green Mountain Club adopted it as a vetted standard for protecting the Long Trail. But yes, it definitely varies, and it is definitely a term we're open to negotiating with the town. To find the right
Okay,
balance.
thank you. Mike?
Another point that's in there, I saw in the paper that we're looking for somebody to log that off. Everybody knows what timber prices are right now. You're seeing trees that are firewood, or you got ones that are logs, they're turning in firewood because there's no mills buying it and price of wood is really low. So we're gonna generate money, and hopefully he's gonna be able to talk about it, and there on these bids that we're gonna talk about cutting timber there. We're gonna pay somebody, cut that, to shape that place up. I wanna make sure, that's why I came tonight, to make sure that this is on the agenda. And the big picture, it is a town law, they can always stay a town law, a town of Johnson. But with the state, that deeper pockets that we do, and they have to pay to cut this because it's selected to be cut. Your tax dollars, and you're saying don't cost us anything. If we don't get a good competitive bid, you as taxpayers want that cut, keep in the forest program, you can tell me if I'm wrong. We're gonna pay somebody to cut that, to stay in the program for what we're supposed to do, for forest improvement, because it hasn't been cut. So the one they're putting in the bid. Forest, it's on the cut.
Is there a forest program? It's not.
Well, can you come up front so we can hear you? Thank you. I'm more concerned about the people online, but I guess there aren't a whole lot of people.
Not immediate, forest management plan, sort of written. And bids that we're gonna talk about later with that plan, it's not in EPA. So the bids that we're talking about, just to get ahead of this, because we're in this one right now, is it gonna cost us anything as taxpayers, or are we gonna make them enough? We don't know, we don't have enough of the bids. Yeah, so you really can't, well, in my part, it'd be, you can make it better before vicinity, if it was gonna cost us money, or not cost us money, you know, somebody wants to take care of it. And we can still name it back in, there's still go walk that picnic zone. It's still the same thing like all the rest of the state, it'll still be Johnson Lane. We do have a lot of these, Johnson, we really do.
Diana,
They do.
I first walked that long trail 40 years ago when this conservation program started to conserve the trailway. I most recently walked it end to end in 2025, just last year. And so I want to encourage the people of Johnson, the select board, and neighbors to look at the value of this easement as being for everybody. It's not just for the town of Johnson. It's one thing that the town of Johnson could offer to the greater world that benefits hundreds or thousands of people a year that are coming through here. And I've been to the Conservation Commission meeting where they talked about the logging plan. And the logging is not going to happen where the log trail easement is. The logging is a different issue from the log trail issue. And the ownership of the whole property is a different issue from the log trail. This is an opportunity to protect that corridor. It's not even going to be a full 1,000 feet because of where the long trail sits closest to the border. And I just heartily endorse the project. There's zero drawback. And there's enormous benefit.
thank you. Doug,
I'm wondering what the current problem, I understand this is the long-term protection, but I wonder if the current problem with the Green Mountain Club using this and I think that the future of this, of the normal place is really for the town, is really a county park and or a state park, things like that. I think that 1,000-foot wide easement, you know, is essentially made pretty simple with, because you lost the use of all of it for the benefit of the long term. So you're gonna have to balance the long trail with the contiguous nature of that against the potential future benefit to the town. You really, you know, I would think that you would, since you're really passing away, you know, ownership, you know, it's so big, so long, so wide, you're passing ownership. I think you would probably want to ask the voters if they wanted to let that go.
I was waiting for somebody to say that.
That's a good point. Excellent point. What's the problem with the trail as it sits right now, without the 1,000 footage?
It's more of a thinking long-term, kind of
Right, so-
effort that we're in. The nearest term issue is that we do need to have legal protection in order to do investment projects in the trail. So as we get these big flood events, as more of the trail grows, and we need to, you know, build stone staircases and put in trail bridges and projects like that that require paid staff to do that, we can't justify spending grant dollars, public dollars, donor dollars on places that we don't have legal protection in the trail. So that's the closest near-term need, but that said, I believe the Como Town Forest is in fairly good shape and we aren't planning a trail project in the near term.
I don't know, I just think of the old sayings we used to say as little kids. It's high diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle leave well enough alone. So,
Molly,
my take on it.
can you tell us again the length of the trail in miles and what is left to be protected?
The trail in its totality is 272 miles, and we have done a 4.5 miles that still need protection. And there's just about a third of a mile on the Como Town Forest.
I would love to see us help make it 100%.
Same.
With 1,000 feet right on your.
Well, we can talk about 1,000 feet, 500 feet, whatever, but
Well, what's the acreage involved? Sorry.
The full 1,000-foot, request would be about 22 acres. Out of the 120 acres of the town forest.
But we know it's not 1,000 feet, right? Because it's near the border of property boundary.
Yeah, so that's accounted for it. I measured the polygon that I put on that map and that came out at
Okay.
22 acres.
Okay.
So definitely open to making that a smaller amount if that's deemed to be a barrier.
There's a lot of raw land in the state of Vermont selling for $3,000 an acre, so that's $60,000 right.
Good math.
But
there.
I would never want to sell our town forest. So it's zero in my mind.
Well, you're giving up,
But why would we want
Oh,
to sell our
28.
town forest?
you're giving up over 20 acres.
Let's sell other property. Why don't we have a review of other property to sell if we want to sell property and not our
Well,
town forest?
Just like Mike said, sell them all.
Scott?
I don't mind.
Yeah, if I could chime in one more time. Let go. It's not like you're signing over a piece of land that you can't use. You're gonna have a well-established club maintaining a trail network for the town of Johnson. For a lot of people who do through hikes and local hikes, and regional hikes, coming to this town to spend cash. Right? Am I missing something on this? If the 1,000 feet is too much, work the Green Mountain Club. Narrow it down if that's the thing, but it's not like we're gonna turn the keys over and we can't use it anymore. It's protected land. At that point, and we have a club that's willing to spend their cash, their dollars, their membership fees, maintaining that trail for everybody. I'm not clear on why this is such a giant hurdle.
neither am I.
Well,
Last year, when we keep talking about recreational economy, how much money this brings into this region? And we're stalling it.
well, I think it's a hurdle just because there are various opinions, which is fair. That's why we get together and have meetings. I have a question with regard to, not the, do we or don't we? My question is more, does the board have the authority to do this without talking to the taxpayers? This seems more like a town meeting warrant item to me than a select board meeting, which we have pretty good attendance at. Thank you very much, but a lot of towns not here. Does anybody know the answer?
I did reach out to Vermont League of Cities and Towns. And where this trail is for public access, town meeting is not needed. If it was going to a private,
But say again,
where this trail, this easement is for public access. And town meeting is not required. If it's going to like a private entity, then town meeting would be required.
We'd still have to notice it in the paper.
still might be a good idea, but
Yeah, well,
comment, Duncan.
Well, I respect the idea that VLCT has an opinion on this. I think you're spot on, Paul. It's a grant of an easement. Whether it's for public use or what, it's a grant of an easement. It's part of a bundle of property rights that the town would be giving or granting to a third party. So I would encourage you to contact the municipal attorney and find out for sure whether it requires, any kind of public notice or vote. If you were to sell it, you by statute, you'd be required to publish notice in the paper.
Right.
And I think there's a 10-day period whereby any citizen can request a town vote.
Can I answer that?
Please.
I've been very careful not to offer my opinion one way or another because the board didn't tell me if they wanted it. I'm answering your question specifically. We actually just went through this with the municipal attorney for the prime ag easement on the Gomo Town Forest, the deer wintering habitat easement on the Prindle lot. And our municipal attorney basically recommended we hold a public hearing, give 45 days notice, make a motion. And we did that for for both of those, and those are easements that we gave up on those pieces of property to make the industrial park cheaper.
So I don't see the situations any different here.
If we're talking easements, I don't see where it's any different.
Thank you. Mike, you had a comment?
Yes, I took part when wanted the town to sell a bunch of land, and it was adamant, the taxpayers said, no, we're not gonna sell any land, just so you know this. And the next part is, if we ever sold land, the taxpayers at the meeting wanted to make the decision, not the select board. Adamant. Well, because I want it gone, because I want to put a cell tower into the town of Johnson up there on the top. That's what started all this. And there would have been one up there. You would be spending 10,000 a month.
That's right, that was a good deal.
10,000 a month they pay us.
$120,000 a year.
Molly, do you have examples of other towns? Do they hold public hearings beforehand or?
Yeah, the best example I could find was the town of Proctor. We had good, I didn't personally work through that one, but we had good documentation of the conversation with the town, and their town attorney did an analysis and said that Vermont statute 24, section 1061, paragraph A1 applied to the granting of easements, and it required town notice, and then I think a 30-day period, and if the town residents got a petition with 5% of the voters, then it would go to a town vote, but if it didn't, then the select board had the authority.
Okay. I want to make a motion to do that.
To do what?
To do what she just said.
Okay.
That's clear.
So your motion is to make a public announcement that we're considering this and give the,
30-day notice.
I might recommend that we take one step back.
Okay.
And have a line of dialogue about the terms.
Okay.
That was, I think the town residents would have questions about that, so
Okay.
figuring out what is the appropriate width. And then some of the nuances of the timber, the other recreation that might be considered with this, some details when you start writing a document. to
Okay.
figure it
and
out.
I think even though we've been through with our attorney on other easements, it seems like we ought to be talking to our attorney about this and make sure we're up and up.
He wrote the motion for us.
Yeah, we can do it again. That's good.
Only charges like $400 an hour. Made it a lot of words.
Mike, the last one.
Yeah, I promise. So can you open the bids that we have on this and still schedule something for her? Is she gonna be happy that we're gonna cut this lot and let these bids go?
Well, again, we're not logging where the easement is. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah,
It's just-
that wouldn't really change what we're asking for. We're in it for the long view, and we know trees regrow, and yeah, we're.
It was just as long as you don't get upset, say anything else. That's how stuff gets in the middle, isn't all of a sudden it's a whole twisted tale.
So-
This conversation doesn't.
We're landing on inviting them back again to discuss more.
So I think is that the consensus of the board? We're going to check with our attorney to talk about process, and then we're going to invite you back to talk more about terms,
Yeah.
width and so forth.
Perhaps it makes sense for me to present a proposal of terms that you could respond to, if that would be helpful.
Sure, that would be great.
And I guess I would love to get a read of, should I decrease the corridor width, if that seems to be the major topic of conversation? Or, yeah, any initial feedback on what those terms.
As far as I'm concerned, you should decrease it considerably.
I don't think you should decrease it.
Oh, you agree? That's crazy.
It was a price on a lot.
Yeah. $3,000 an acre will sell it.
I think you can see it seems to be a divergence of opinion here. So I think your proposal would need to maybe include some options A and B kind of things. Yeah, personally, I guess I'd like to say I'm in favor of the idea, but maybe reduce somewhat. And I do think I'm in favor of getting citizen input, because I think it's town property, it's not our property. So. Okay,
Peter, how do you feel?
I'm in support of the proposal, and I'm happy to work out details on terms.
Are you happy with the easement amount? Or do you want an option B?
I think the options would be helpful, just because I don't want the size of the easement to kill the idea. I'm personally happy with the proposal as it stands, but some options would probably help the discussion.
other comments from the board?
No, I could.
We do.
Did you say your opinion, Evan?
I
mean, you know-
have recused myself from any actual contact.
Gotcha.
One question, Mike. Is it for sale, or is that one of the options you're presenting, is that the select?
If it was for sale, I would sell it.
You would.
You better believe it.
Would you sell just this corridor to the Green Mountain Club, or would you sell the whole?
I'd sell the whole thing if they want to buy
You
it.
would.
That's my own personal feeling.
Yeah.
If they pay us $3,000 an acre, I think the town would go for it.
Well, they are offering to give money for the survey, so
Oh, that's peanuts.
was $5,000 and you said 3,000, so.
3,000.
Well,
There's something here.
20 acres.
There's something here. I don't know if we used the word, except maybe Molly did, stewardship. I mean, we are stewards of a piece of land that has great public benefit. So I'm not interested in the town selling the property. I think we need to look beyond what we can get for an acre and look at the public good that we're contributing to.
It would still be public good if they owned it.
Well, and
we have money
economical
where-
benefits from people using the Long Trail.
Anyway, we beat this.
I think we've heard all the opinions we're gonna hear. So thank you very much, Molly. Great,
clear as mud.
thank you.
I don't even know what these people want.
All right, next item was to be was to kill a fly. Next item was to be Blueberry Festival, that we've agreed we don't really have anything to talk about on that. So after that, we are on to talking,
Are covered by insurance?
they've stated they have their own insurance.
Okay.
They have their own insurance and they're pulling away from the boat race.
Yeah, there's no boat race. Okay, next item is item 14, which is establish a task force, excuse me, for the Julian Scott House and Low Lecture Hall discussion and consider vote. We voted last meeting to, I forget the word we used, but it wasn't task force. But you create a group to look into the Julian Scott House and what the options are and so forth. I sent to the board last Friday a proclamation and press release and draft mission statement for that group. For the purpose of, I think, part of our goal here is to attract state and federal level attention. So I think we need to be a little more official and maybe a little less casual about creating a task force and define some ground rules for it. You know, what is their mission? Do they have a budget? You know, what are we expecting them to do and so forth? Which is the reasoning behind that. We haven't, as a group, had a chance to discuss those things I sent, so I'm kind of happy to open that up to the floor now and talk about it. We did get clarification from our attorney that essentially there is no such thing as a task force under state statute. It's really subcommittee. So my suggestion is that we use the term task force anyway, but agree that we're using it for a specific subcommittee that we do not expect to be a standing committee. We don't expect to be permanent. It's a short-term, task-oriented, get this done, figure it out, report back to the select board, and eventually we disband that committee or that task force. That being the distinction between a new committee and a task force in my mind. Having said that, We'll open up to comments from the board and then the floor.
Thought this was an excellent piece of work. Thank you, Paul. And I don't feel the need to change anything about it. I'm open to what other people have to say, but I think you did it.
Yeah, I think it's great, Paul. We want to like read it out loud or parts of it for the record.
Oh, God.
Not really. I don't think anybody wants to hear it.
they-
It'll be in our minutes.
Just stick it in.
Well, just the highlights.
Basically, it's just establishing a task force and it's documenting the fact that this is a historic structure and that Julian Scott was a renowned Civil War artist, Medal of Honor recipient, and so forth. And I think I don't want to read the whole thing unless you really want me to.
5 to 9 members.
Okay, one question is, how many members do we think we need? I put 5 to 9 because that's kind of our standard within the town. My suggestion would be 5. Open input.
A good number. Yeah.
Too many cooks spoil it, huh?
Well, I think they should have a meeting and then whoever wants to be a member can be a member. And then they bring that number back to us. Because I don't know how many people are going to show up to their first meeting.
Well, they won't have a meeting unless we appoint members.
With like the rail trail committee, we just like met. And then we asked for a certain amount of members.
Well, that was a group of people
Well, we
that
could,
voted the select board and asked to be a committee, and I believe they're a limited term committee. That's how they were formed, with a task. And there was recommendations, but that was non-public body group of people that were interested that asked the public body. We're actively forming public entity.
Mhm.
I think we could form a task force and then invite the public to come to the meeting to discuss it and then eventually appoint members. Charlie?
So are they gonna be subject to open meeting plan?
Yes.
Correct.
You're gonna enforce it?
Probably not.
Yes, of course we'll enforce it. And the simplest is agendas and minutes. It's pretty simple. Duncan?
So what I would suggest that if it's concerned, the question that, if you start with appointing 5 members. And we have a bunch of people show up at a meeting who really want to be on the committee. Then 5 appointed members could always come back to you guys and say, we recommend that you appoint so-and-so. So if you leave it like you've got it at 5 to 9. And you appoint 5, then you get the flexibility and one.
Fair point. It's also true that everybody who participates or works on this doesn't have to be a member. I mean, you know, citizen involvement is a great thing, so.
And there's certainly some things that we're having a committee of 5 rather
Yeah,
than just. I had a couple of small suggested edits to the resolutions.
fire away.
So in your first whereas. You've got, I'll read the cultural value associated with. My suggestion would be, and the birthplace of Civil War artist and Medal of Honor recipient Julian Scott. So it's recognizing that it's his. Not only is it associated with him, it's his birthplace.
Okay, good catch. Thank you.
That would be one. Second, whereas, where you're referring to the building currently being at risk of demolition. I would suggest adding a phrase. Due to requirements related to inclusion of the FEMA buyout program. You know, I can, if you guys think you might want this, I can give you this copy. And then the other one really was down on the section 2, the duties. You have identified funding sources. I would suggest identify any and all funding sources. Stating including but not limited to. And adding donations Commonwealth, state or federal funds.
Or bequests.
Sorry, Evan, what did you say?
Do you want?
Yeah, thank you. I also had some conversations and thank you, Duncan. Another comment which could go in the mission statement, but could also go here, would be to include an assessment of the FEMA process by which this ended up in the bio program, the historical preservation review and so forth. I don't know how the board feels about that.
I'm sorry, you said adding something about the FEMA process to this, or?
Well, in addition to identifying the funding sources and so forth, call attention to the fact that it appears, based on what we were presented with, that didn't really go through the proper process with FEMA at the state level. It was identified and recognized as a historic site, but somehow didn't go down the FEMA historic site channel. It went down the regular property owner buyout channel. And nobody gave us a real explanation as to how or why that happened. So it seems like that potentially could be part of this task force's mission, is to identify that or elaborate on that, with the intention of hopefully getting some state attention for that issue. Because it does seem like this went down the wrong road. Doug?
Reason maybe it's there, you're giving away a lot of your leverage if you don't look to how it's happened and why it happened, because there's a big blank space out there. If I'm not a FEMA expert at all, but it would be that the state historic preservation officer said yes, was told by FEMA that it's a historic property. And they processed that they did not take it through the historic preservation plan. And if it had the money that's being, as far as I can tell, if it had gone full board down that, they would, the town would be in a position of looking for money to solve it when they funded by FEMA at the beginning. And I think you're giving up a lot of your best arguments, and going to just begging the king for money.
Leverage certainly has a value, but I'm seeing a pretty short available timeline, and I'd suggest that kind of postmortem would be valuable to do, but at the end of the group's work, not get bogged down now, spending precious time.
That's a good point.
Mr. Chairman, is this just limited to town residents, or can anybody be involved in this?
Anybody.
I didn't say one way or the other in this draft,
Right,
so
it just says residents with experience. That implies like residents of this community. Yeah, I think it should be spelled out kind of clearly that anybody that's interested can be involved in this, because I know people who do not live in town would be more than interested in being on this committee.
Yeah.
okay, good point. Where did I slip and include the word residents?
Question, is membership on other committees limited to town residents only? Just for consistency across
Well, this isn't a committee,
subcommittee.
task force.
AKA task force.
No, this is a special deal.
We open this up to everybody who's not a resident. Is that consistent with your policy with regard to other groups?
Planning commission members can be non-related.
Say it again, Doug.
Planning commission, member can be non-related.
That's true, that's in our bylaws. Charlie?
In statute, it's something that we have non-related.
Oh, press release, but not.
Sometimes you're better off having them.
I'm not opposed. Just wanted to make sure it was consistent.
Not allocate money, not directing funds,
Right.
giving suggestions.
Right, yeah, this is strictly an advisory task force.
I don't think you say residents anywhere.
It's in the press release. It's not.
Oh.
Yeah, this turns out, so.
Okay.
Okay, what's the board's temperature? Do you want to make a decision on this? Do you want to chew on it? Do you want to?
Well, I think we ought to make the edits immediately and approve this and get moving forward.
Okay,
I think Mike made a motion to accept
did you,
the
Mike?
press release, select board resolution, mission statement, and operating guides for the Julian Scott limited term committee / task force as amended tonight.
Yeah, I would think so.
I think I heard him make that motion.
Yeah,
I heard Peter second it.
I think I heard that too.
Mike, you make a motion?
yes, I did.
Okay, do we have a second?
Mhm.
Can I ask a question with that? I'm gonna start with regard to the suggestion with regard to duties. Is that an edit or not, or are you referring only to the document?
Yours too.
And
So I have birthplace and including FEMA based on Duncan's comments and not limited to and state and federal funds as well. And then duties, including the FEMA issue.
You both make good comments.
We'll have to come up with appropriate wording.
Did you want a final written report date?
I had penciled in, we have a deadline currently by year end, correct? For,
Yes.
so
2 weeks. Fiscal year, calendar year.
we have our extension from FEMA currently runs through the end of the year, calendar year.
Maybe like November? Mhm.
The general consensus I got was a 5-member board.
Doug, question?
Well, I was wondering if, when Stephanie Smith said that she would, she would get us an extension until the grant expired. And then we now know when the original grant expired.
I'll find out.
That's because she said a year or 2 years.
Yeah, she seemed to indicate pretty clearly there was no pressure time wise. So, I think we could,
Grant expires.
maybe we can cross out the word final, just a written report no later than first meeting in November, and then we'll go from there if we need more. Scott, comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to support you with trying to figure out why this happened with FEMA and not maybe going through the right channels. I don't think too much time should be spent on that. Because even if it was protected and the homeowner wanted to do a FEMA buyout and they were told no, they could still sell it on the private market. And God knows what would have happened to the house at that point. So I'm not sure if it's worth spending a boatload of time on that. I think for the task force, they should just hit the ground running, trying to find cash. It's the most important primary task.
Yeah, the house is in the floodplain, so there might have been a dearth of buyers, but I take your point. I think it's partly a matter of having that recognition in the mission, in the duties, not necessarily spending a lot of time on it, but not wanting to give that issue away, I think is the point Doug was trying to make. If I'm misstating, Doug, feel free to say so.
It's everybody out there is innocent, and, I think there's some recognition as needed, and we'll get more help if we go to people and say, well, this is what happened, and it could have been done better, and could you help us, get through this, can you approach FEMA and, get them to change the process? And she said, Stephanie Smith said, well, you raise the money and then maybe we'll get FEMA to fund it, I think there ought to be some communication between the state and federal, and there ought to be a reason. I think that, it's, you need to go full bore on fundraising, you also need to have this, I would feel like, I'm not sure that I want to give this away, and I want to be in the committee without that.
Well, as of now, it's included. Okay, so we have a motion to accept the resolution, press release, and mission statement with tonight's edits. We have a second. Any further discussion on the board?
Should we set a date for their first meeting or something?
Let's work that out.
Okay, I just want people to know when it is.
Well, we're
That are
forming the
here.
committee. John will have to circulate requests for people to join, we'll have to appoint members, and then they can pick their own meeting date.
Oh, okay.
I think I think we can do that separately. Okay, motion and a second, no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Looks like the ayes have it, thank you.
Thank you.
Or I got a good piece of rubber.
All right, thank you.
Did you use AI?
What do you think?
I think you did.
I have to be a fool not to, wouldn't I? Don't answer that. All right, next item, 15, Public Works Garage Insulation RFP. Consider and vote.
Yeah,
John,
we received a MERP grant for the Public Works Garage. There were some items including smart thermostats and garage door sensors, and basically in talking with Public Works, they felt like adding insulation to the walls and the ceiling was the way to go. So I talked with Tori at
thank you, folks.
LCPC.
Thank you.
We made some changes, and this is a request for proposal to use the MERP money. We got about $20,000, and it's to install insulation in the walls up to R20 and insulation in the ceiling for R49.
So it's not up to, it's no less than,
No less than.
yeah, just to be clear. Does the board have any comments on the draft RFP?
Move the town, move forward with this. Insulation.
I motion to approve the RFP as presented.
Okay.
That was a second.
I want Mike to second me.
Awesome.
Mike, you too accommodating. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Exact same.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. RFP approved. Thank you, John, for getting that out.
Use your turn.
All right, next item is Riverside School abutting property quitclaim deed.
Yes.
John, go ahead.
I was approached by Jennifer Sargent and her surveyor. There's a piece of property on Hogback Road down by the intersection. Apparently I was educated that that was the site of the 1928 Riverside School. And the town still owns a piece of property. Jennifer Sargent was cleaning up her deed, and she owns some water frontage, but I guess the language was unclear as to the length of where the property was. So in talking with the surveyor and Mr. Sargent, they'd like to quitclaim the section between Hogback Road and the river to the town to just straighten out their deed and give us a little more piece of property. And we have the surveyor and Mrs. Sargent here tonight.
Yeah, Matt Reed, I'm like surveyor.
I'm Jennifer Sargent. My mother Mildred Sargent and my father Douglas Sargent were residents on the Hogback Road for many years, and as you probably know, mother died in February. So the property's been deeded to my sister and myself. We were shoring up our boundaries and we came across this. It's unusual, it's historical, and I'm not gonna use a strip of riverbank property, but you guys that manage the roads and V-Trans perhaps will need it in the future because of flooding, erosion on the riverbank, etc. So that's why we're here. To save you some money in the future.
Well, there's a bit of a liability issue. It's the parking lot that's there. May or may not have been the site of the original school. In 1859, it shows the school being across from what is the Sargent home on the maps. So the school was there and it was moved, luckily for the town, right before the flood, to the corner of Prospect Road. It's the first place on the right. That's the same building. And initially,
Historically, there used to be a large covered bridge spanning the Lamoille River just a ways downward, and it was called Riverside Drive. And this 2-lane bridge was taken out in the 1927 flood. It was named after Philip French, who, if you read the Johnson historical newsletters, was a Westville or West Settlement Select Board member for a number of years. It was a huge bridge, and unfortunately, the floodwaters tore it down to Eiffel Falls, where it created a dam with all the other debris and came back.
So there's a point in the survey that was highlighted by the town administrator. That's the section that Jennifer, the sergeants may own between where the bridge was. And then towards the school. Now, the schools traditionally didn't have a lot of land around them. Every school that I've ever surveyed, they had about 20 feet is what the town fathers ever bought for the schools. But they didn't, it was never just really decided, so there's no way to know historically where that boundary line is. And honestly, I don't think any amount of money could ever determine it. Because I've been in the historical society, we can't find pictures of the school in place. There's no history of it. We do know they moved the school. And they bought land from the previous owners of the sergeants to move the school to that property, but they never sold the property the school was on to anyone else.
And the school was moved when my grandfather was living at 4509 Hogback Road, and my father was probably 6 or 7. And he helped roll it onto the rollers, and the oxen took it next door. And we do have in the archives a picture of one of the Thompsons, Eleanor, I believe, Madge and Glenn Thompson's daughters, in front of the old schoolhouse. And also in the UVM archives historical is a great picture of that covered bridge that was huge, double carriage, left and right, and named after this Mr. French.
It's a shame we don't have that anymore.
Oh,
That would be something.
So that's where we're at, is it's really the patch of land would be from, there's a pull off there that's currently actually the town's property. I can prove that. And this is behind that pull off, and as it goes down the bank and then along the bank to roughly across from Prospect Rock Road, which the line would have been. It's about 20 feet of steep bank down to the river.
And it's of course changed over time because of Mother
Sure.
Nature, and the bridges changed, having to be rebuilt. But sumac is growing in there, poplar, honey lopez, ferns, there's a few snakes too, if you like those. And it just gets less and less as you get down to Prospect Hill turn, which is part of the lawn tree.
So this, really, the part of this is. She can't do anything with the property anyway, it's the state rules, river flow. And it could impede if there was any kind of FEMA damage there or something happening, if, let's say, a future owner of this could hold up a project or maybe something. Where the town could be like, oh yeah, just put riprap along the bank and shore up the road there. And so if it's the town's property, then it's a simple operation for the state, as the state still owns, because they bought it back. On the old Iron Bridge right of way and all that location, so they own quite a bit there, and when they get ready, they did that for a reason. If they ever get ready to replace the current bridge, they can put a temporary bridge back where we had the Iron Bridge. Replace the current bridge as it is, and then take the temporary bridge out, which they would be using anything, what would be the school property or hers.
Yeah.
To do all this construction, so for her
And
to
they
own
come
that,
to
and the
me
liability
and
is.
ask me to, or pay me a small sum of money like they did with mom and dad years ago to expand the hogback and pave it. And the same with the bridge, when they initially had to replace the old two up wide covered bridge, they had to put
a iron bridge in. And I think it's been changed at least twice since since the 1950s, 60s, and 70s.
And so the point here is, she was just willing to just quick claim anything across the road to the town to connect to what still is town property from where the school's set. We're talking along the riverbank, and then that gets her out of any liability, but it also gives the town more flexibility when it comes to either future FEMA projects or whatever may happen on the Hogback Road. Something has to be repaired there.
And I realize it's a sliver, but what's the area?
Oh, I haven't even figured it out because it's like 20 feet wide by maybe 100 feet long. But I don't know where it ends. That's the problem because I don't know where the schoolhouse is.
Right.
They called it Riverside. It could
Yeah,
have said
okay.
next to the river or 30 feet from the river. So we're talking a very small area of land. And again, to try to calculate all this out would be more costly than it would be just a quick claim. Because she would be quick claiming anything south of the Hogback Road that she might have any claim to.
Okay, thank you. Questions from the board, comments?
I don't see any downside to this.
It's gonna,
So,
it's gonna sound like a weird question. There's no like brownfield concerns with any soil contamination or
If
anything
there
that.
was soil contamination there, the state would have created it doing all this bridge work.
Nothing that you've uncovered.
No.
Okay,
I mean, it's
that
all
answers the
steep
question.
slope.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know if you remember it, but we all remember the Iron Bridge. Was where a lot of this questionable property.
Was that an ageist comment?
No, I'm just saying, I don't think so. I mean,
Yeah.
we remember all.
Is it because I look youthful?
Yeah.
I'm old up here.
Yeah.
Before.
I move we accept this piece of property, the sergeant, with a quick claim deed.
Okay, we have a motion to a second.
Second, what are we paying for attorney's fees?
Yeah.
You just
can't believe it.
left.
Huh?
Just left.
He's not our attorney.
And associated attorney fees. I can't believe it's gonna be that much. But, you know.
How well do you know the attorneys?
Yeah. Well, our attorney.
He wants
is pretty
property.
well.
They're pretty good.
So I.
Okay, we have a motion, excuse me, we have a motion and a second. Are there further comments from the board? Okay, do you have new information to impart regarding the motion?
Was going to say, that it's probably pretty obvious that I will go to my lawyer who will draw up the deeds and present it to yours.
Okay, thank you.
So cool, it's no cost to the town.
Well, we're still gonna have it review.
Oh, thank you very much. It's very nice of you.
Stand out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Hi.
All those opposed?
Nice
Abstains?
of you.
The ayes have it.
And the survey will be reported within the next 2 days, so the attorney can start.
Great,
all wording.
Okay, great.
thank you. So John, maybe stay in touch with Jennifer and her attorney so we can help our attorney in. Thank you very much. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank
What's
you.
your phone number?
We're opening bids in the meeting again.
802-888.
Yep.
1700.
When are we gonna get away?
Or something more? It should go on this one, okay.
No,
What?
I didn't know if you had something on the agenda.
Oh,
No, no.
This is just,
says they own it.
Well, I.
this is just communications. We're just two separate contracts.
It's okay. That don't bother me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Why is that in this one? I don't know.
Okay, next item is to review bids for cemetery monument maintenance. We have received a bid on cemetery maintenance. We talked to two companies and we received one bid from Hill House, who has done the work previously. That's not related, okay. So the bid that we have,
That's not installed. Yeah, very reasonable.
Free is usually pretty reasonable.
the bid we have from Monument Services for Town of Johnson from Hill House Estates LLC. They checked all the boxes as far as insurance and so forth. And specified Whiting Hill Cemetery, straighten and repair stones according to specifications in the RFP. Plot Cemetery, 2 stones to be repaired according to the specifications in the RFP. The above work will be done for $7,300, payable when the work is completed. And they have checked off for the RFP, have general liability insurance, have workers' comp insurance, and have all required licenses to perform said work. So we have advertised it. We only got 1 bid.
I had 2 companies express an interest. It was Hill House and a company from Connecticut. And we got one bid.
So a question for the board procedurally. Our RFP, our purchasing policy suggests we should have more than 1 bid. We've made an attempt to get more than 1, but we didn't succeed. How do we proceed?
How many stones did it say we were gonna get? And Whiting Hill Cemetery, does it have a number?
No, I think it's a dollar amount. I think we had 7,500 in the budget.
How many, it doesn't say in the proposal how many stones, it says per the RFP, so I don't have a copy of the RFP with me. No, I don't.
It's nice to know what we're gonna get done. It's basically per stone cost.
Okay, well, we can go back and we can hold off on this and go back and look at the RFP, and we approve the RFP, so whatever that says.
Right.
Do you think this amount is too much?
Well, we do have them listed, if we have done X number of stones and so much a piece and everything else, and we don't know what they're gonna do for that, but
Well, we do if we'd read the RFP, if we had it in front of us. So
how many stones were in there?
I don't have it in front of me, I don't know. I don't have,
No, there wasn't a number because, they started on White Hill Cemetery and it was going to be finish up that and then move on to Evergreen. If they were able to. And then last year, I think we had Hill House and they gave us an update that we did this much work for stones, we reset this much. They gave us an update on the work they did.
You said it's 7,300.
7,300, and we have 7,500 budgeted.
I would motion to accept the proposal
Yeah.
from the only responding bidder. Understanding that there was an attempt to get more.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
I do have something to add. Can they not do that until like after July 1st? Or have we spent any money this year? Keep going. We'll have the answer.
Well, it's part of the motion, all right? It should be.
No, this is just further discussion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All
Yeah, we
opposed?
spent it all.
We spent it this year.
10,000.
Yeah,
It would have to be after July 1.
it'd have to be after July 1.
Okay, yeah,
Hey,
Okay,
all right. You guys have it? So we need to make sure that it's not done until next fiscal year.
is that fine?
All right, next item is the sheriff's contract for patrol and 911.
Yeah, I got a copy of the sheriff's proposal for 911 and patrol.
Motion to accept the
Second.
whole contract with the Vermont County Sheriff's Department. No, communications, sorry, I don't know why I said patrol, communications. In the amount of $77,864 for a 12-month period.
Second.
Which one of these is which? Sorry, we got too many pages here. Okay, you're jumping to the second.
The first one's
The
communication.
first one.
Second one in my packet, but okay. All right, so we're talking about communications, all right, $77,864. July 1 to June 30, July 1, 2026, June 30, 2027. Comments? I have a question for you, Evan, regarding the equipment. You were talking about trying to modify that, is that?
That's a patrol thing, not a communications thing.
Okay, it's in the other one as well, but, I mean, it's in both of them.
I mean, the communications one that I have does not have that B section.
Wait, you don't have this number 3? You got number 3.
That's
Yeah, I don't understand number 3.
different.
Okay.
That's if we withdraw,
Well, that's termination, but that's been that way for ever since I've been on the board.
What's that mean?
Means they keep it all.
Keep what?
The communications equipment, have you ever done a tour of the sheriff's department, like their call center?
Oh, okay. No.
And they service a lot more than the 3 patrol towns out of that call center.
So any property that they purchase, they get to keep, or that we
Yes.
purchase for them or something? Okay.
Anything that they purchase, they keep.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second? Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? All right, the ayes have it. I will sign that and get it back to John.
All of us sign it.
Looks like all of us sign it. We'll pass it
Do you
around.
have a signature page for patrol? I don't have the signature page.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm seeing the patrol.
all right.
All right, next item is the patrol agreement.
I motion to accept the patrol agreement with the Mohawk County Sheriff's Department for the periods of July 26th to June 27, and the total aggregate amount of $589,265.
You don't even want to try to negotiate that,
Motion's on the table.
I guess so.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second.
Further discussion?
Further discussion. Thank you.
I think this is getting out of being good grief. The majority of the money was spent years ago when they had 1,800 students in college. What do they have, 250 up there now? This is $600,000, this is crazy.
It's costly, and patrol is done on a per capita basis,
I know,
right? Not call volume, and communications is done on per capita with, that's 50% of it, and the other 50% of it's grand list. Stowe carries the lion's share of communication.
whatever, but I tell you, when you got $600,000 come down, and there's no reason why we couldn't go back and say, did you sharpen the pencil a little bit? Instead of just rubber stamping the sheriff's budget every single year.
I think I've had quite a few conversations with them, but.
So
Sure.
they set their budget and then divide it up by the towns on a per capita basis? Is that how it works?
I mean, they provided budgetary stuff to us in November,
Right, we saw that.
right? That's when we talked
I
about.
know,
They set their overall budget. And then like for patrol, the 3 patrol towns are Outside Park and Wolcott. We carry. Because of populations, we carry. A little bit over 40%, Hyde Park carries a little under 40, and Wolcott carries like
What is
22%
this?
or something.
Why do we have 2 of them?
I don't know.
What?
This is the communication.
Oh, this is just a copy, so, all right. That's the
Okay.
one we're signing.
All right. Are there any further questions?
I have the same
not
question
signing
with
it?
regard to,
he should ask the question, any further information.
like I said, I like it when we have multiple chairs.
Okay.
I have the same question with regard to equipment. We talked about this, and I thought you had a really good point that any equipment that's bought with money we pay for ought to come to the town if in fact this thing dissolves.
Which is the 3B in
Yeah.
patrol. So I can read it for public if you want, or you can, it doesn't matter. It's on that page.
Yeah, there's no 3B.
Sorry, 5B. In the event, so
Okay,
this is,
get that.
this is added language. In the event the Lamoille County Sheriff's Department terminates or dissolves its patrol division, nothing to do with communication.
Control.
The parties and partner patrol towns agree to engage in good faith negotiations regarding the equitable distribution or disposition of police cruisers and related assets used in connection with this agreement. and determine equitable distributions. The parties may consider financial contributions, funding sources, depreciation, and operational need.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I was looking for that in 3. Good. That's in there. So we have a motion and a second, I believe. Comments from the board? None. Diana?
I was part of a town select board appointed committee in 2026 to look at the expenditures for law enforcement
26?
in 2020 or 2020,
Okay.
6 years ago. That committee disbanded prematurely when our chair quit. We kept open meeting law requirements and minutes were kept that have recently been scrubbed from the town website when the website changed. At that time, I felt very strongly that the town select board was negligent in its responsibility to appropriately manage this budget. It's an enormous amount of money. At town meeting, we quibble and quabble over $5,000. We're spending $500,000 with inappropriate oversight and minimal community input. It's irresponsible and inappropriate. This issue has to be studied, and I've taken every channel possible to help make that happen as a public servant myself. I served on that committee. I've brought it up at town meeting as an open item at the end when we could, and I've mentioned it at the most recent town meeting. The town select board is not serving the public well by just spending $500,000 every year. One of the findings in our study that disbanded prematurely was that the town of Johnson was disproportionately funding Memorial County Sheriff. We're a cash cow for that department. We haven't appropriately studied, are we getting enough in return? We just haven't appropriately studied it. I would strongly encourage this board to not spend this money without further analysis, data collection, and an appropriate responsible study of this expenditure. I think you should involve the public in spending this amount of money. This is an inappropriately large amount of money for what we're getting, based on the study that I participated in 6 years ago.
For the record, it's $589,265.
Thank you for adding that.
Thank you. When the committee you were on decided we were disproportionately funding the Memorial County Sheriff's Department, disproportionately how? Population wise or?
Well, it's done this per capita way, as you noted, the responsibility is shared between the towns of Johnson and Wolcott and Hyde Park for patrol. However, the Memorial County Sheriff serves the Memorial County. The primary responsibility for law enforcement is actually state police. If we don't have a contract with the sheriff's department, the state police is required to serve our town. It's in our best interest to have a contract with the local sheriff, because response times for the state police are stretched thin. They're understaffed, just like our sheriff department is understaffed. And they can't get and keep enough patrol officers to serve our state. So I'm not saying that the answer is necessarily to cancel our contract and go with the state police. But I'm saying, considering that this is the Memorial County Sheriff's Department, and Johnson is their main funding source, and they're serving the entire county, but we're footing the bill, the word I would use for that is disproportionate.
Okay, thank you.
Are you referring, just for my clarity, about his patrol contracts? I mean, we call this patrol, this is police services. It's no secret that the Memorial County Sheriff's Department takes contracts outside
Right.
of police services. Is that what you're referring to?
No. This contract for police services is one of many contracts that the Memorial County Sheriff has.
Certainly.
They take contracts for many, many services that they provide. The state statutes of what they have to provide is very limited. The state statute for what they have to get paid is a small fraction of their budget. what Johnson is paying is a huge fraction of their budget. And that doesn't even include additional contracts.
Mike, you had a comment?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, comment on some of the stuff you said, back about 20 years ago, Mike's gonna remember it. Yeah, but anyways, we had the state police come to town meeting. And we broke it down, what we're gonna do, we almost pulled out. We beat everything which way we go, like cruisers, labor, cost, only yards, and we couldn't do it on our own. We just could not, and that's when Ken Harvey was still in, and we looked at more spills, we looked at stoves, we looked at hardwicks, the select board did on what we're gonna do. And we couldn't do anything different, the state absolutely refused, they just said, we can't guarantee, we just don't know what they come. And we see it now, so I'm sure you people have scanners, you'll hear Williston send Lamont County to Eden, you'll hear them send them to Lowell or someplace they just can't get there. So it's like a mutual aid in the fire department, it's the same way there when they're out doing their stuff. Our budget is very high, 100%, but there's nothing else. We tried this 20 years ago, and then we tried it the last term. And you just won't get it to come. There is no other choice. It's either this or not. I mean, that's basically what they got us. And that's just, there's no cops out there. Yeah. We tried, the select board tried years ago, so that the history of the town, boards have fought. I don't know about your history, but I know Mike and I can go back long enough to remember this when they were right at the town, and it was hot. And we just couldn't stop them. Because they're the only ones who come. And they do come.
Other comments?
Is that? You said they're no longer on the town website, but is that information available from that?
I can send them to the board members.
Like, during the transition of the website, the intention was to keep the minutes up, and I just checked and they're not there, like you said. So I don't know what happened with this company. But I'll investigate and try to get those minutes on there. Any inactive groups or committees are on a page called other boards and committees or something like
But
that.
this didn't make it to there.
Right, I know. I'm gonna investigate and try to get those on there.
That website that the town has now, it's a lot to be desired.
Were you on the committee, Evan, or involved?
No,
Associated?
Diana and Duncan were, and I believe the final report out of the last meeting of that committee, limited term committee, made it to the select board at the time. I
So
remember.
it should be in our minutes somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere.
It was
Donna
not-
has it, or no, because you
It
and
was
Duncan,
not a report of the committee, because at our last meeting,
it was the meeting minutes.
the chair refused to accept the work that the committee had done. The representatives from Hyde Park, Walcott, and me as the other representative from Johnson. The chair said, I'm not putting my name on this report. And I'm leaving as of now. Good night. And left the meeting. And said, I'm gonna file a report on my own. And submitted a report that was his own work, not the result of the entire committee. The input from the rest of the group was left out.
Okay.
Nice, sounds like you had a nice committee. Was there minutes of that meeting? So was the original work?
Used to be on the-
Yeah, there was plenty of minutes. Interesting read.
You don't have a copy of those anymore, do you?
Well, I probably still have, I can figure out a date. But I probably still have them all.
I'll
Okay.
get them on there. I'll send you a drive folder to put them in.
But the greater point, even though I will forever be bitter about donating my time to yet another project that was fruitless. My bigger point is that the town select board made a half-hearted effort to collect information and then drop the ball. This is a huge amount of money. It's a huge amount of money. And like Mike said, he's got you in a double bind, because either you pay up or you don't get policing. And I just encourage you to have some gumption, fight back. You're not the type of guys to just roll over and pay whatever they want you to pay. You gotta stand up to these people who are just trying to make money off. I'm sorry to put it so bluntly, but
It's the way to do it.
But
I
That's
knew
the way it is.
I knew you'd appreciate.
Mike,
remember, you're fighting yourself. You know who owns the sheriff's department. I know they changed it to LLC. I know that, and that's why they turned it back to us. But before your time, 3 towns owned. We owned ourselves, and the sheriff's appointed by the state, not us.
The sheriff is elected.
I know, but a state can appoint you too if he died or whatever, but I'm saying it's not the 4 towns that controls him. He's not an employee of ours, he's a state employee. So the towns, the 3 towns, we own the sheriff's department. We own the cruiser, we own the land, we own the building, everything but the stuff. We own
that
it.
wasn't in the previous contracts, was it?
No.
I'm not sure that's quite correct.
It isn't now. That's why they're switching it back to where it was. It got taken away from us somehow. I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, went to live with the liability or whatever, and the town just set it off, we don't wanna stay this no more because we don't have the liability. So that's when the sheriff's department took it over. Used to be 3 towns owned it. I was on it. I know it. Anyways, we owned that. We bought the cruisers. Yes, we owned it. And then when they got scared about this liability of accidents and whatever, they said, we're gonna start a limited liability, whatever, and you, the sheriff's department. This paper you got now, that if somebody steps out, now it can come back to the towns. Because before, if it's sold
Right,
tomorrow,
right.
you had nothing.
Okay, so we have some concerns raised about the amount. Thank you for the historical perspective, but as far as where we are right now, we need policing as of July 1st.
There's a motion and a second on the floor.
There's a motion and a second. We're in discussion, so. I don't see personally that we have the luxury of negotiating and investigating and so forth with this document in front of us. I think Diana's point is very well made. I think we should do in the future. I'm not sure we have any better options, but it certainly deserves a look.
I mean, for devil's advocate here, I've been on the side of need through emergency management for the sheriff's department. And there is no end that I've seen they have in supporting us. And also, the public doesn't see the amount of communication that select board members have with Roger. There is already a lot of pressure on reducing cost increases. And Roger has typically stayed around 3%, which I know through 2020, 2021, and 2022 was excessively painful for that department. So I'm not downplaying the amount of money. It just being on this side of the table sounds like, well, you guys are lazy and rubber stamping it. That's not the case with me.
Well, I do have a history of working with the sheriff's department as a colleague. When I was on the ambulance, we relied on their presence often and they were helpful. We relied on dispatch to the sheriff's department for my job. I couldn't have done my job without the sheriff's dispatch department. I have no squabbles, no concerns about the quality of the dispatchers and the communications contract, which is why I didn't speak to that one. And as the patrol goes, I know a lot of the department personally. And I support them in their work and I have sympathized with their staffing issues. And I'm yet able to keep that separate from my concerns about the town spending this much money to support that patrol contract.
Okay. Thank you, Diana.
It should be noted, I'm gonna vote no on this and specifically for the reason that I mentioned, because I think we can do better. I don't know how, but I hope we can do better. So I'm gonna vote no.
You got 3 years, which means next November you better do better.
Yeah.
So when we're sitting here next June, you'll have nobody to blame but yourself.
And if there really is a lot of information that's made available to the select board that I'm unaware of, that the public is unaware of, that leads you to feel that this is justified, then that needs to be brought forth. You know?
Emailed sheriff's reports monthly.
Yeah.
Right. Which we
This
can,
vote's gonna pass it.
Yeah, I know, that's why
It's.
I should have shut up.
You should just shut up, right?
I'm riding the
So,
horse that's
yeah.
in the stable.
In
Peter, comment.
voting no, Mike, because
Just in principle.
do we have an option before July 1st?
No. Unfortunately.
There's a reason I did them separate.
Take a vote, Mr. Chairman.
I'd like to vote no in principle as well, because I think we can do better as well.
Okay,
Before July 1st.
No, not before July.
Well, that's
But-
what's in front of us here, is a contract starting July 1st, 2026.
But we're between a rock and a hard place right now.
Yeah,
Right, so it's great that everybody's massaging their feelings and trying to make a statement, but we need
Do it.
policing. So are we?
Yeah.
I think it's. Pardon me, but I'm not sure what the point you're trying to make is if we can't.
that we need to
have
do
no other
something
option.
in the future.
I totally agree with that completely.
I'll vote yes on this motion. But I want to learn a whole lot more before I vote yes again.
Okay, any further discussion, comments, clarifications?
Nope.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and the motion is to approve this sheriff's contract starting July 1st, 2026 for a total sum of $589,265 for patrol. All those in favor, please say aye.
aye,
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay,
Okay, I vote aye, and it passes. Thank you.
And also,
Thank you for the discussion.
also state, I had nothing against the sheriff or his deputy.
Mike's getting a speeding
So
ticket
we will-
tomorrow.
Passes.
Whatever.
I'll pass this around for signature.
I better not have her.
All right, next item, review of forestry bids. We received one bid for forestry services for the Goma lot harvest from Mike Green. And I have that bid here.
Thanks for your comment.
I just hope for another 6 years, I can go buy it.
Okay, from Green Forestry Service. I've read the RFP, I have general liability insurance, it does not have workman's comp, but it doesn't have employees. A license is required. 20% of stumpage for administrative sale, 80% to the town of Johnson.
80% stumpage.
20% of stumpage for administrative sale to him, 80% to town of Johnson.
Now that's for the forester, not for the logger.
This is for the,
Yeah, for the forester, we're gonna get stumpage for what we sell. And then he's gonna get 20% of that stumpage, we'll get 80%.
So if we went out, the logger would split it third, let's say, but we only keep 80% of that third. If it's third trucking, third logger, third owner.
so
Just fictitious numbers here.
do you have the RFP?
No, not with me.
Okay. I thought the RFP was more along, was for the whole project.
So it's 20% to mark the trees to be cut.
gonna cut it himself, does it?
No,
I was-
No.
he's
I
gonna
was
go in and
trying to
oversee the
understand
harvest.
it.
So what's your understanding of this, Noel?
The RFP was for forestry services, that's hiring a forester to execute this job. That's not hiring a log to cut it, it's hiring a forester. Forester put in a bid and said 28. Doesn't say anything about who's gonna hire, just whoever he can get to get that wood off, that's what he's telling me. Yeah. We don't know what we're gonna get out of it because the trees vary price and all the other. Things.
Right, so help me understand that. So he's saying 80/20, I get that part.
Yeah. So he's gonna go to the woods in there and he's gonna take a paint down and start marking trees.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay.
So my question is, when they're selling the logs, he's getting 20, we're getting 80. What's the logger getting?
Out of our 80. Depends on trucking, road selling. You're gonna get nothing, let him grow. Seriously, heart attack, but.
No, we get,
Dude, let him grow. We ain't gonna get nothing for it.
no, we get the stumpage, off for sale. And then the logger is gonna get his percentage. And
Well,
then,
where's his percentage?
The 80. There's 100%, he's taking 20, you got 80, 80's part of the owner, he's gonna take it off from this, I've done this for years. You're gonna cut trees in there, we'll be lucky if we get 30% on it, and the trees ain't worth nothing. Let them grow.
So just to speak to that comment, this is not a timber stand that was worth a lot anyway. We knew that going in. That's why we had actually Mike Green as the forester for the last survey. It needs to be to grow good trees for the future. Gotta do some work to remove some of the.
So this is
hardwood.
timber stand improvement we're talking about.
Yeah, it was never gonna be much of a moneymaker. We were honestly, the Conservation Commission was hoping to break even on improving that road. Get some timber work done. Well, you know, a couple thousand on top, then we got the road fixed. That was my thought, big one.
How do we know if we're gonna come out on top?
Yeah.
How do we know if we're gonna come out even? How do we know if we're gonna lose money?
You gotta get a logger to go look at it, loggers, then you'll know. They'll walk the same stuff they cruise it. They'll tell you. That's what their job is, the loggers and cruise it.
Right, but isn't that that's what we're hiring?
Not
Quite
quite.
green to do.
If you go with the job, you gotta pay them for 20%, yep. And you can go walk all that for nothing. The state has one free one though, do they still come to it though? No?
Straightforward.
We tried.
We tried for.
Okay, because the state used to do it.
Well, I confess, I don't really understand this very well. Seems like there's a little more wrinkle in here than I was expecting.
The whole thing kind of stinks anyway.
What's the temperature board? You wanna hold off on this? You wanna move forward? You wanna get more information? You want to
Get some loggers in there and have
maybe
a look at
ask
it.
Mike to come in and talk to us about how this might work?
Before we put this, going back in time, before we put this RFP out, this originated because because the Conservation Commission brought us
A bid from a
a
logger
bid from a logger.
That Mike Green found,
that Mike Green found.
Yeah,
the only one.
And if we still got those numbers, we would definitely probably lose money. As long as we know what going in, right?
No, it's gonna cost you.
Higher taxes next year.
Now. You have another choice too. You're all gonna hate me. It was just sitting right there, she just said let her buy it and we'll go walk the land free after she fixes it. And that's it.
I don't hear anybody say they're gonna buy the whole thing.
I just heard her, I told her it was a price. Whether she does or not.
At $3,000 an acre.
Okay, I think we need to look into this a little further, personally. What's the temperature of the board? What do you guys wanna do?
I'm torn because it is town property. Part of our tasks is taking care of town property. Another portion that really tears me is if we are going to lose money. I prefer to go in front of the taxpayers on town meeting day and say. Oh, we are budgeting $25,000, whatever. To have this work done, but the public will benefit from the road being repaired. You know, it's not 20,000 for nothing. But we know from talks with the Conservation Commission and Forester that it's crappy wood. Needs to be cut to thin things out. I think paying somebody 20%. 20% of stumpage, I guess that, so if the wood is worthless, we don't have to pay them a nickel, right? That's serious question, 20% of stumpage, who determines what stumpage is worth?
He does. He converts the value until after he gets loggers. Over there.
What if we got a logger that wanted to take 100% of the wood?
You have.
And we don't have to pay the forest.
Market himself. We've got a guy in the forestry, he loves marketing trees. I've seen him paint trees out down on the golf, on the. Legion Field, you love putting paint down over there.
I don't think, I'm not comfortable with signing that. I guess my motion would be to pause. Till we have more information, but that's,
Who's gonna provide us more information?
Now we reach out to Mike and see what he's getting for prices.
I need to know how much we're losing.
Yeah, I think we do need to look into.
Just one.
Further.
An action?
Last logger that logged my property paid me a
Lois?
third for softwood and 50% on hardwood. And you take the trucking out of there, and that's what you end up with.
Lois,
And I didn't have to pay somebody 20% to mark the trees.
Lois, you have a comment?
My comment is that, Mike had told us that, he had the loggers lined up. He had them up there, so they have seen what's available. And when it got late, they're on another job now, but would probably be available. But the logger knows what they're getting into. You know, I'm a few, I get real confused about how that works because of the percentages. And one of the things that Mike told me, I said, well, so you're taking on this job and you have no idea whether you're gonna get any money or not. And he said, no, I don't. That's the way it goes. Which may be why he worked for the state all those years.
Well, I'm glad the logger knows what they're getting into, but it's pretty clear we don't. So I would suggest we hold off on accepting this bid until we know more. Diana?
Seems like, I don't wanna put you guys on the spot as the Conservation Commission, but they've done all the hard work for you. They found somebody to do something that no one else wants to do. And they've met each request that you've put before them.
I know.
And you're the stewards of public land, and this isn't a timber sale, this is a land management project to increase the value of the land that you own. I'm just really confused about why there's any drawback to just accepting this. And the fact that you have to pay the guy a percentage means that he's gonna work harder for you to try to increase his percentage. You still get more than he does. I just don't see any like drawback to this.
Well, it
I'm
is a
really
timber.
confused, and I'm really confused about how this would require any more thought at all than the $589,000 conversation. You know, they've done the work, they found the guy, the project's set. I don't even see why you have to think about it.
Well, I think I just explained it. We don't know how much money we're gonna lose. Or if we're gonna lose money.
I don't think
It'd be nice to have some idea.
We wouldn't lose a thing if we went with that logger that gave us the percentage that he said he was gonna pay it. We're gonna make money out of it. You're not gonna make much, but we're not gonna have to spend it.
Yeah, but it's like saying, how much money are you losing when you pay someone to mow the lawn? You know, do you look at every lawn mowing contract as how much money you're losing? You know, it costs, maintenance costs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if that logger's bid, I think, is a third on everything, right? I don't have it in front of me, but
I was a third softwood, third hardwood, and like $60 a cord for firewood or something like
not
that.
$60 a cord, 15 or something. 15 a cord for farmers.
Sure.
Yeah. You know, we're not losing any money doing that.
Well, I think
I think the
because,
last time we talked about that was that the last hardwood I sold was 50%. I got half. And I just made the comment about he's only offering a third. But to tell you the truth, if whatever we get is more than what we're getting now.
Well, who has to pay to repair the roads? They have access to the property. Who,
does?
honestly, who has to pay for
Contract.
that?
Part of the contract.
The woods contract.
So they pay
They
for all.
gotta get in there to get the wood. I don't know what the road is, that's why Mike brought him up there.
The Waterville side or Johnson side?
I think you looked at Johnson's side, Waterville's still an option with that little planning, but there's so much water at the bottom of that, other work it.
No, that logger said he'd take care of the road.
That was my understanding.
Well, and if he's taking care of the road, then we're getting a deal.
Well, it's not gonna be up to like road standard.
Right, but we're gonna get a deal. A third is fine, and fixing the road, then we'll go with that logger. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have that in front of us right now. We have this.
So we still have it. We don't even, let's don't even bother with that, just get the logger. Cause we had the logger from before.
It's all through the same guy.
Yeah.
It's all through the same guy.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
if we
the
had-
forest.
The information you guys brought us a couple meetings back was from the logger directly, not from Mike.
That was from Mike.
Mike put it together from the logger, took the logger out.
So was Mike's 20% in that somewhere?
Yeah.
I don't
I
remember
don't
seeing that.
recall that.
I don't,
Yeah, you get a percentage.
But still, even if we hadn't thinking about it, if we had to pay the 20% and we're gonna get a road, it's a win-win situation.
The idea is there'd be enough harvest to significantly offset all of those costs. That's why
Right.
I'm saying break even before break even happens. It's not gonna be a big bill. That's the point.
I don't wanna see any bill at all.
Right. Ideally. Or a little bit extra. Just depends on the markets and where they sell wood and what they get into when they get out there.
And they're gonna take care of all the water resources stuff.
AMPs are required.
Right, they're gonna take care of it, town will be fine.
They're locked up, they're liable. If we sign a contract with them.
Ideally, the town shouldn't have to pay any money. And I'd feel a whole lot better going into it if I knew the town was breaking even.
so how do we do that?
Point is, there's good points out here, as far as I'm concerned. Stewards of the property, getting a road done. We have money in the budget. The heck with it, let's just do it, get it over with.
I don't know what other information we can obtain because it sounds like there isn't other information to obtain.
Okay,
Well, the original problem was it wasn't bid,
Mhm.
right? We do have a sealed bid now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that one's it.
That hurdle's been cleared.
right.
So would
Same.
you guys rather us accept this or accept the previous?
We can't. Previous
can't
one was
accept
not
one.
bid.
Okay, so you're in favor of accepting this? Okay. I'll make an exception or make a motion to accept the proposal from Green Forest Tree Service for 20% of stumpage for administration of sale, 80% to Town of Johnson.
Second.
Yeah, we have a motion second. Now, somebody still, please, I hate to be the dumbest person in the room, but explain to me where the loggers money comes from. Comes out of our 80%. Is that correct?
The loggers money comes from where he sells the logs to the mill. And then stumpage is a percentage of what he gets.
Well, that portion of the contract is what we read. The last meeting goes into this motion. I would assume.
Oh, assuming it's not really a great way to do contracts, but
I understand that, but
Mike,
There's three entities. There's marking, which I talked about, the green guy. There's the stumpage and the other two. So there's 100%. There's no 110 or whatever. It's 100%. 20 goes to the guy that marks it and finds the guy. The 80% that's left is what they sell the wood. And John, well, like you guys have a contract, but I guess it's 30 and whatever percentage is gonna go either way. John, no, we're not gonna get the 80%. We're gonna get that as half of what they sell the log for, and the logger takes that. The only guaranteed is the 20%, the guy that marks the timber, he gets 20%. That 80 is where they sell the wood, we get a percentage, the logger gets a percent out of that 80. That's what that contract is saying. He's agreeing right now, he doesn't do. So you're not gonna get 80%.
But yeah, I'm gathering that. That's why I keep asking. But this doesn't make any reference to the previous
Right.
contract that you guys brought in.
Yeah, I don't
It
know if
makes
he could come
no-
up with a new harvester to do it, but he knows because the RFP what's required. That includes the road, and includes the harvest.
Right. It doesn't say anything about what we're gonna get per hardwood tree or per softwood tree or anything. There's nothing. It's nothing
I'm
here.
not gonna prove anything, and I can't see what we're getting for percentage.
Okay,
Charlie, help me out.
so you're gonna cut some wood and take it and sell the wood. That's 100%. What you get from the sawmill is 100%. 20% goes to this guy. Out of that 100%, 20% goes to this guy. The other 80% gets divided up. We don't know quite how it's gonna get divided up. But the town's gonna get at least 0. It's not gonna cost the town anything. The trucker's gonna get a portion of that 80%, and the logger's gonna get a portion of that 80%. You're not gonna spend a penny. Cause it's 100%, of which he's taking the first 20%.
The 20% part I get. It's the other part that I'm,
80% is what's left.
They're variable.
Yeah.
That's gonna have to be.
I get that. We have to divide it between the logger and the trucker
And you,
and us.
right.
Problem
Your
I have with it,
exposure
none of that is
is
spelled
what
out.
You're gonna get out of it. But you're gonna not get less than 0. And you're gonna accomplish 2 things. You're gonna thin the forest and you're gonna get this gravel road. It's a no-brainer. You got a brain.
So what do you know we get for road? I can take in the middle of winter, to just put sprinkle stone down that thing and off he goes out the road. Or they can put it to a seed.
It's in his RFP when it gets for it. And you know what? Whatever, if all he sprinkles a little bit of gravel, it's better than what you got today.
Last time I went down through that road is like 5 and 6 feet deep. Is it still 5 and 6 feet deep?
On the side, the other side.
Of course it is, because that's where the water goes. That's why water bill has a fit all the time. I mean, all the water comes down from the mountain. I thought if we were gonna fix something, we're gonna fix it, pull the thing in, and build something out, keeps the water where it's supposed to go. Water bill gets all messed down there. If you haven't been through there, you should really go look at it. It's taller than you.
Our side is not that bad though. At least it
The
was
top,
last time I
we're at the
looked.
top, then it's ledge, then it goes down over, and then it's flat. And the ruts are up in where the trees are, from the loggers years ago, it runs right down to the road, and that's why the road don't hold.
Our side is bad, all the way down from Waterville side where the little cross stream is, we got a bunch of work up there. And then we looked at it, and all. We took a ride up through there with the side by sides and looked at it, sure. Yeah, yeah.
My only ATV ride.
You're saying the Waterville side is bad.
What?
You're saying the Waterville side is bad.
It's Waterville, it's Johnson's Road, and it's a huge thing, we can get that road fixed up to last 4 standards, because that will eliminate the town. With the MRGP to get it up to standard, so that this is a huge thing, that's in the RFP to bring it up to our MRGP standards for a class 4 road, that's what I would have to do, and so they have to do the runoff and. The ditches, the water bars in the road, that's how I do it, that's how I put it in the RFP, so. It's to that standard. Technically. It's how we have to have it to be viable.
I don't think we had that standard.
No, we didn't have standards. Yeah, I don't think so either.
Then we do fan.
Well, the main focus is thinning trees and anything else is bonus.
Well, I agree with Jason. If you're gonna do it, you might as well do it right.
Let's do it right after.
That's great. That Waterville side's never, that's. That project is beyond.
Call the vote.
Any further comments?
No.
We have a motion and a second. The motion was to accept the Green Forest Tree Service bid for 20% and 80% as described. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Okay.
All those opposed?
I don't see a lot of it really in writing in front of me, so I'm gonna vote no.
Just said it's gonna be too.
Oh my God,
I'm gonna vote no also, so the nays have it. We need
Take
to-
this down the road forever.
A lot of tiebreakers for you. Mike, myself.
Mike,
and
Evan and
Paul.
me. In my view, we need to take a look at the RFP, make sure the standards are in there, and thank you, Mike. And get some idea of whether the previous information for hardwood and softwood trees and so forth is still part of this. That all should be
Do you want
together.
Detail in another RFP specifically for that 80%.
I would like this, I mean, we put out an RFP, what I'd like is detail.
Yeah.
You know, what's behind this? That's my feeling.
And
It's-
then I could reach out to Mike and try to get some of the pricing.
Yeah, I don't know that it needs to be rebid again. I
No,
just
well,
want,
we could work with
we
them
just
at
gotta
that.
understand his bid.
It's not that we don't appreciate the work. I think it's that we don't know what we don't know. And what was most confusing to me, you said, hopefully we break even, and I assumed that from a town standpoint. And at that point, I just
Yeah.
get all
Okay.
antsy.
Enough on forestry. Thank you. Next item is joint meeting follow-up. We have discussed having a joint meeting with the village on June 24th at 6 p.m. And we have a tentative agenda, which is in,
These are based on topics that we
Packet.
previously discussed.
What's this
And
request
The one,
right away?
yeah, got a gentleman named Monroe Brook. He owns a piece of property on French Hill. And it is also right behind the mill house. And he'd like to have a right of way up to the backside of his property for maple syrup. So he'd like to come across town and village property and have a place where the truck could pick up syrup.
Understood. I don't know if it's worth talking about. Is this board going to support that? Does the village want to talk about that, or?
I don't know, I talked to Eric about it and Eric said that, you know, he would push in favor of it.
Okay,
He owns the land that abuts Landway Lane.
Yeah,
And that Landway Lane,
it's on a hill.
they just bulldozed a huge flat area next to Becky's property for this maple syrup operation. That's right on Landway Lane. Why would you need another access through our property?
generally speaking, on access to me for an individual really doesn't serve, like all public could.
Right.
We're talking about a right of way. I did not give my opinion on before, but it was for a statewide trail that everybody can access.
Right. This is gonna be.
Which to me is just different than right away for an individual that bought a piece of property.
well, in any event, it's on our agenda. It's not our decision to make because we have to make it with the village.
Sure.
So I think that the task at hand here is to decide if there's any more items we want to have
Are there
on
any
here.
other
We have
topics?
discussing joint properties. We have municipal building, mill house and garages, 180 acres off Landway Lane, the backhoe ownership, the salt shed and cold storage and smokehouse, and the mill house property.
If we want to make it any more
Nice.
awkward, we could ask them if they want to take part in Rosemary's retirement party retirement gift.
Yeah.
It's awkward with her being here, but we do it for every other employee that's been here for a long time. I'd like to think it's a surprise for them. Nobody can get anything faster in this town anyways.
Anything else? We have posts on the trees and Main Street and Road Street repairs. So there are-
About merger?
How about not this one?
Anything else? And the village hasn't suggested any topics as yet. Is that correct?
No, I proposed them to Eric and he said he'll get back to me on Wednesday.
Okay. The board comfortable with this,
Perfect.
with the addition of Rosemary's Party?
Do we need a quorum of the select board for that meeting?
Yes.
I cannot be there.
What?
June 24th, 6 p.m.
It's the 20. Oh,
So,
We'll have a quorum.
okay,
Appreciate the heads up.
Nobody wants to be there, but we have to be.
yeah, I cannot be there.
Is there a reason we don't have the declaratory judgment on the agenda?
Oh, we don't have what?
We're not to talk about that.
Well, we voted to go forward with it, so it's public record.
Sure.
Well, we'll see what the village comes back with. for
Pending
agenda
legal
items.
matters are
Yeah.
affected by
I'm
executive
not-
session.
Can't go into any detail. Okay, board comfortable with that agenda? Subject to whatever the village comes up with. All right, next item is Lamoille Fiber Net resolutions. Just need to appoint representatives, which I thought we did when we during our appointments thing, but we need to have a specific resolution that Lamoille Fiber Net needs back.
Yeah, we do that during our appointments meeting.
But we just need to.
I motion to accept the Lamoille FiberNet resolution renewing participation in the Lamoille Fiber Communications Union District and appointing a representative to the governing body for the town of Johnson, authorizing the select board chair to sign with whoever's names we appointed on March 5th or whatever it was.
And those are the two names on the document.
And that was Mark and me.
Yeah, it was.
We have a motion.
Second,
Thank you. Discussion?
Yeah.
Charlie.
Rates go up 30%.
When FiberNet came into, when Fidium came into town, they offered a introductory rate. And then they said in that initial package, at least what I did, saw, was that it was for the first 1 year or first 9 months or first year and a half. I don't know what the time period was, but it was clearly,
30%.
What are you paying?
Is this, all honest,
85.
honest question, is this a question for the Johnson Selectboard or the Communication Union District?
Well, it's when I get to talk to the communication district person who represents us.
Can you stay after the meeting?
yep, we can talk anytime,
So
Charlie.
that I don't have to.
Well, and to be clear, Lamoille FiberNet has nothing to do with setting rates. That's totally Fidium. So
For
we
real?
can talk about it, but yeah, for real. And I will also say that they charge us the same rates they charge throughout Vermont. So whatever they're charging in Burlington, whatever, that was part of the negotiations and it's universal pricing. So we're not getting stiffed because we don't have a lot of local options.
No, I don't.
We'll pass that to Rosemary for signature. So we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? None. The ayes have it. Thank you. All right, we are on to old business, which we don't do. We're on to executive sessions. So, thank you very much, Diana.
So,
Charlie,
there's-
thank you.
There's 3 potential action out of 2.
There's 3 executive sessions. That's correct.
Yes, okay.
This-
I motion we enter executive session as allowed by 1 VSA 313. A3.
A3?
Says subsection
Personnel
2,
issues?
Yeah.
for personnel matters, inviting John, Jason, and Elizabeth. Sorry. You can go home and get some sleep if you'd like.
Do we still have things to sign?
Adrian. Paul likes to hog them. Likes to keep them close, so we don't have to write the check.
Didn't work, did it?
Oh, we're still writing the check. You know, I'm trying to like reverse my psychology. Forever and a day, I said that if we save $10, the school spends 10 grand. I'm trying to spend 10 grand, so the school will only spend $10. Right?
I don't see that happening.
If like our spending goes down, theirs goes up,
Yeah.
it should be inverse. Are we out? We gotta, did you
Yeah,
call?
we need to.
We never had a second for entering executive
Second.
session, did we?
Okay, all those in favor of entering executive session as described, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstain? Okay.
So David, we're gonna shut the video and the audio off, and then we'll come to you next.